Alrighty, everybody. Hello, hello, my friends. It is good to see y'all back here again for some more coverage on Melissa, the absolute beast that it is. But anyways, what's up, everybody? What's up, Mark? What's up, Jesse? Jesse says, "What's up, Andrew? Been missing you today." Yeah, dude, I've been live all overnight. I haven't been live during the daytime because I've been covering night shift. So I wasn't able to be here throughout the day, but I was literally here all overnight. We ended up doing 8 hours of coverage last night, which was just pretty crazy. We did 2 4-hour live streams, and then of course the night before, I think we did another 4-hour live stream, and maybe another one with a little bit more, I think, but I forgot the exact amount. But anyways, but system here is about to make landfall in Cuba now. It did briefly regain strength as a Category 4. Right now, though, it is back down to a Category 3. We are sustaining 127 mile-an-hour winds right now. We're likely gusting upwards of about 140, 150 or so. And, of course, the central low is down to 952 millibars. Here, let's bring up the Hurricane Center here. Yeah, so it's yesterday was just crazy. I was just completely blown away. I think a lot of you guys were as well. I mean, just how strong that system was. It was just absolutely ridiculous. Seeing that system there got down to 892 millibars, just at the point of landfall in Jamaica, which was just absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, what's up, Anna? Good to see you. Saying, here we go again. Welcome back to Night Shift for sure. Good to see you, Anna. Hope you're doing well. Anna, thank you so much. Tropical Storm Team for 14 months. Saying, appreciate the coverage. Well, thank you, my friend. That's really sweet of you. Thank you so much. Y'all in chat, please give Anna a big thank you for the continuous support on the Tropical Storm Team. Thank you very, very much, my friend. So here's the latest rainfall forecast. I decided we're going to do the landscape view today instead of the typical short format. It's a lot better, honestly, for long duration coverages on the landscape. And then for the YouTube Shorts one, it's better, just for quick little updates or whatever. But anyways, so we do have 12 to 16 inches of rain still expected for eastern Cuba, kind of the southern, kind of southeastern side of Cuba. We're talking isolated amounts upwards of 16 inches or 300 to 400 millimeters of rainfall. Jamaica is still going to be getting a little bit of rainfall out here as well. So just want to go ahead and let you guys know. But also the Bahamas, we have this pretty decent streak of about 8 to 12 inches or 200 to 300 millimeters worth of rainfall cutting through a lot of the southern side here. So right now, let's see here. Let's hop back over here to the current warnings and stuff. There's a lot of people that's on the Hurricane Center's page here. So some things do take a few seconds to load, unfortunately. But yeah, hopping over here to the current, estimated tropical storm force winds here. We have that yellow circle, that yellow blob. This is the tropical storm force wind, where the 34 to 100, where did I get that number from? 34 to 70, 39 to 74 miles an hour. I'm losing it, y'all. This constant coverage has been just frying my brain. But yeah, so 39 to 74 mile-an-hour winds. That's where the tropical storm force winds are at here. You can see Cuba, at this point is definitely starting to get those, or continuing to get those here. And then, of course, we do have the central and southern Bahamas under those those hurricane warnings there, which the tropical storm force winds are getting pretty close to the Bahamas. Haiti's still under tropical storm warnings. They downgraded the hurricane warnings for Jamaica now to tropical storm warnings. Most of the winds have calmed down a lot out there as the system has pretty much rolled through Jamaica. Make sure to say your prayers to the people in Jamaica. They got absolutely hammered by the storm here. And like I mentioned, Jamaica, or Cuba now, has to deal with still a very, very strong hurricane here. So, hopping on over here to the mesofloater view here. We'll actually go ahead and refresh the page because sometimes it gets caught for some reason. Sometimes it just loves to mess up here. There we go. So there is the latest here. We'll actually do the last 200 frames. It'll give us a good chunk of the data to look at here. Here we go. Go ahead and bring y'all over here. So there you go. So you can see, it's still still kicking off, and we still have the eye there. It's trying to clear out that eye just before landfall there, which, as it was going through Jamaica, the eye actually completely disintegrated there for a short period of time. Here, we're actually gonna backtrack here. Let's actually hop back to see frame intervals here. We'll go back quite a bit here. Let's do 6. Yeah, there you go. So you can see just before landfall here, in Jamaica, at the point of landfall, this is where we kind of ended our coverage here, just at that point of landfall. But you can see shortly after, the eye just completely disintegrated here. It does not like land very, very much. Derek says, what are the millibars supposed to be? So right now the pressure is down to 952. If you're asking what millibars are, it's a unit of pressure that we use. I'm sure you probably know what it is, but I think you're probably asking what there are right now. But yeah, right now it's at 952 millibars, a lot higher than it was. Like I said, yesterday it was down to 892, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Jesse says, I agree. I hated the short form. I need more screen simulation in my head. Yeah, Jesse, I hear you. Yeah, but like I mentioned, sometimes it's nice just to be able to go live quick. With that short format. But yeah, I totally understand. I mean, having the long view like this is a lot better. But you can see, though, like I was talking about, though, is once the system made that landfall there, absolute beast of a storm, the eye completely collapsed, as you can see, for quite a bit. But then, it's starting to clear out quite a bit here. You can see a little bit of dry, a little bit of drier air, but it's not going to be able to get that eye perfectly organized. I mean, it's very lopsided. But like we mentioned, it is a Category 3 storm right now. We are sustaining, so the winds are constant in the eye wall at about 125 miles per hour. It says 127, but we round to the nearest, 5 or 10. Let's see here. Anna says, I lived in the Philippines when I was 7 in 1982. A smaller type typhoon hit us. Looked exactly like Jamaica. Oh, wow. Goodness. Yeah, typhoons out there are pretty wild. Absolutely. Glad you're all right, though, Anna. Derek says, I have no clue what it's supposed to mean. LOL, sorry. No, you're good. So pressure is a way of measuring storm intensity. So basically, the lower the pressure, the stronger the storm. Because the more air that it's lifting into the environment, the lower the pressure, the more air is off the ground and in the, up. So basically, the storm is just pulling up a bunch of air and shooting it upwards in the core, which allows the pressure to drop. So that's why you have lower pressure on a stronger storm. It's because of increased amounts of air going upwards, or that vertical velocity, essentially. But yeah, just for reference, normal pressure, so not a high or low pressure system, is 1,013 millibars. A good rainstorm, 1,005-ish, typically, pretty low. I mean, lower. A good high pressure system, 1,020 or so. This storm yesterday, just before landfall in Jamaica, was at 892. That is ridiculously low. The lowest ever recorded was 870 millibars. Let's see. It looks like the eye was tilted and it's re-strengthening. Yeah. Definitely a little bit lopsided, that's for sure. The structure got heavily disrupted by the terrain of Jamaica. Being pretty mountainous, really allowed for the system's lower level wind field to be heavily disrupted, which has kind of thrown some things off and caused it to destabilize and weaken quite a bit. But since it's rolled back into the water here, I mean, it had a little bit of strengthening. It did briefly get back to Category 4. But now it's down to Cat 3. It's an upper level Category 3 right now. So once the system passes through the eastern Cuba, eventually it will work its way over the central and southern Bahamas. And it's a little bit hard to see right now. Here, let me actually go ahead and turn off the sat view. So there you go. So you guys can see this. So you can see the cone has it kind of going through the lower Bahamas here. We're probably going to have maybe a direct landfall towards like the Crooked Island area, whatever these islands are. I'm not too sure. It doesn't really show the name. Yeah, it doesn't really show the name of the islands. But yeah, out here by the southern, south central side of the Bahamas, system's actually still supposed to be pretty decent, pretty strong. We're talking Category 2 at this point in time. This is for pretty much later this evening. So today's a new day, the 29th. So later this evening here, it'll be sustaining about 105. It'll be gusting about 125 or so at Category 2 strength here. So, I mean, it'll still be pretty strong. Category 2s, they're on the lower scale, yeah, but they're definitely still very strong storms, So the Bahamas are definitely going to be getting pretty impacted out here as well. So so there's actually been a little bit of good news. In terms of Bermuda, it seems like the system will more than likely go west of Bermuda. However, we do actually have some. Let's see. We actually do have some hurricane watches in effect out there for Bermuda. If we actually go ahead and bring you guys back over there, you see the little pink area here. Right over Bermuda. So that's actually those hurricane watches that are now in effect, which those will probably be increased in the warnings here probably pretty soon, honestly, because the system is starting to pick up in speed, in momentum, essentially. It was moving very slow there for the longest time. Let's see. Now it's moving. Yeah, it's moving at 10 miles an hour right now. So it's definitely picked up a bit of speed. Beforehand it was only moving at like 2 miles an hour. Whenever it hit Jamaica, I think it was heading at like 7 miles an hour or something like that. Anyways. Anna says, I was watching Katrina when it dipped into the 800s. Yeah, Katrina was pretty bad. Also, Milton last year, I was actually directly in that storm as a Category 2. It hit me directly. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. That storm also got down into the 800s. I mean, it happens on the bigger storms, but it's not super common. It's definitely very intense when it does. I have no idea how to say your name. I am terribly sorry. But they say, good morning from Greece. Thank you for the information. Our thoughts to all the people and animals. Well, good to see you, my friend. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name, or I would say it, but I really appreciate it. And hello from the States. Wow. Honestly, you might be one of the first pop back to all here. It's, too disrupted right now. And like we mentioned, the landfall is literally about to begin here at any time. Here, we'll hop back over here for a minute. Turn back on our sat view. So here's Cuba. Actually, that northern eye wall at this point in time is likely starting to impact them quite a bit here. Here, we'll go ahead and turn on our data. I don't know if we have any MEDAR stations out here. We'll turn some of them on. Maybe we'll have some data. Okay, we don't appear to have any weather stations out here. We do have some for more of like central Cuba, unfortunately, but not going to be super useful. but anyways, yeah. So out there by the coastal areas right here, it looks like that landfall is near Loma del Gato. Let's see. That's out there by Cayo Grandma? What? Cayo Grandma? All right. This is, let's see. The cone is out there near the SCU Antonio Maceo International Airport. Yeah, my pronunciation's not going to be very good, by the way, for these areas. But anyways, so that's where the cone is. We're about to have landfall on the south side here, or the southeastern side of Cuba. Landfall process will begin here very, very shortly. What's up, Scott? Good to see you. Saying hi, Andrew and everyone else. Good to see you, Scott. Hope you're doing good, man. Let's see. D says, hello from Wisconsin. What's up? Hello from Florida, my friend. Hope you're doing good. It is good to see ya. All right, you know what, y'all? We're going to hop back over here to the Hurricane Center. We're going to take a look here back at, actually, we're going to look at the wind history here. So here's the latest accumulated wind history here. So the yellow that y'all see, this is where that tropical storm force winds occurred. Haiti, honestly, Haiti barely got any of those tropical storm force winds. I mean, they'll probably get a little bit more, but yeah, most of the areas out here for Haiti and Dominican Republic, the main concern out for those areas here was mostly the threat for heavy rainfall. They've still been seeing a lot of rain here. The eastern side of Melissa was very moist. I mean, there was so much water vapor, so much moisture on the eastern side of the storm. So all of that water, all that storm activity has kind of rolled its way over there as well. Causing a pretty big concern. For flooding and all that stuff over by Haiti and the Dominican Republic as well. But yeah, you can see the red there. Those are those hurricane force winds out there. You can see a lot of, pretty much half of Jamaica there experienced those hurricane force winds out there. Pretty sad, but you can see, this was let's see, when did this come out here? This doesn't say. Oh, advisories 1 through 31A. When did this come out? Hold on a minute. 31. It didn't really say, but this is a little bit behind here. Actually, you know what? We'll look at this instead. This is better. Here we go. So this is the center as of 2 a.m. Eastern. So this is actually brand new. You can't really see the hurricane force winds out there. It's a little bit covered, but those are starting to now go inland. Let's see here. Dylan says, yeah, Melissa's strength shocked me. I saw the wind gust being 241. I did hear about that too. Yeah, that was pretty wild. Scott says, I've seen roofs ripped off. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I heard that there was a hospital that got completely demolished, unfortunately. D says, is it true that there's only 7 deaths in Jamaica? So I didn't hear the total, fatalities on it, but the storm just rolled through, and people are still kind of in their safe spots right now. Conditions are now starting to improve in Jamaica, so so it's going to be a little bit of time before we get like a true number, essentially. Scott says they haven't gone out to check on it. Yeah, exactly. Dylan says, let's see, 241 is, as we know, Andrew, well above EF5 tornado strength. Yeah, it is. I think EF5 strength is, 200 plus? Pretty sure. That's pretty significant. But anyways, so like we mentioned, after Cuba, we're going to have to watch out for the Bahamas here as well, because they're going to have that landfall here later on this afternoon, later this evening here. So we'll have to watch out for those areas here. System will continue pulling to the northeast here. We're gonna have a pretty close approach to Bermuda. Because Bermuda here actually by the afternoon or by the late evening of the 30th, early 31st, so late Halloween Eve, we're gonna be seeing the system go right next to Bermuda. And it'll likely be a Category 1 at that point in time. Here we'll be sustaining about sustaining about 90 mile an hour winds there, and we'll be gusting about 115 or so at that point in time. Let's see, the eye is probably about to vanish very quickly considering the terrain's about to encounter. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you saw how it came off of Jamaica just for that. That little stretch of land that it went over. The terrain in the Caribbean is pretty mountainous, believe it or not. There's a lot of mountain ranges throughout Cuba, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Haiti. There's quite a bit of mountains, believe it or not. And, these hurricanes, they do not like the terrain like that. It really disrupts their lower level circulation that goes on there. So, yeah, honestly, yeah, for sure. It's not going to have an eye much longer. It briefly, as you can see, it's trying to clear out that eye, but it's running out of time. It's literally about to do that landfall any minute now. Any damage footage yet? I've seen some floating around, yeah. But anyways, so yeah, we're going to hop back over here to the rainfall projections. Once again, we're going to get a lot of rain out of the system here still, so another really big concern. So here in eastern Cuba, at the point of landfall here, so we are going to be seeing really good amount of rainfall here. We're talking like 12 to 16 inches of rain, which equivalents to 300 to 400 millimeters of rainfall. And the Weather Prediction Center did mention that we could even have some isolated amounts of above 16 inches here. Remember, that's not how much has fallen. That's how much is still expected to occur. So, the ground's already very saturated out there. We've already seen a lot of rain out in some of these regions here, and they're still going to see more. I mean, even Jamaica will probably see a little bit more rainfall here as well. Dominican Republic, for the western side, we could still pick up a good 4 to 6 inches or so. So definitely, still seeing some rain out there and all. Let's see here. D says mountains were created for a reason, I guess. Yeah, I guess you could say that. But anyways, yeah, the rainfall for the Bahamas is still a little bit in low confidence. You guys can see the lower confidence marker here. Still is a little bit of lower confidence, but we'll likely see out there by like San Salvador about 8 to 12 inches or so, 200 to 300 millimeters. Out there by, let's see, Long Island, I believe that is. It has it about 8 to 12. Out there by Crockett Island, about 6 to 8 inches or so. But, that's kind of the lower confidence area. Any live cameras in Cuba that can show? As of right now, no. There's not a whole lot out there, unfortunately. There's, we were looking for weather stations, too. We didn't really see any. Rebecca says, hi, Andrew. Hope you are well. Just checking in. You too, Rebecca. Thanks for joining. I hope you're doing good yourself. It is good to have you here. Let's see here. Tori says, I'm surprised the lack of live coverage going on in Cuba right now. Earlier, I was watching so many live webcams in Jamaica to see what's going on. I've been searching for hours for any live cams in Cuba. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of live cameras, but coverage, you mean like camera coverage and stuff? Yeah. Haven't really seen too much. Not to mention a lot of it's copyrighted and stuff, and you can't use it without licenses and all that mess. So it makes it a little bit difficult to show. But we do have sat view. We do have radar. Speaking, I don't know if we're gonna. Let me see if I can find a radar view actually. Here, let's bring this up. I think Cuba does have a radar. I swear I used to have a website that had like a whole bunch of Caribbean islands. With tons of radar coverage here. I'm going to see if we can find any. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot, though. Alright, that page is not loading. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, there used to be this site that I had. Is this it? Nah. Darn. Yeah, I don't know what happened to it, man. I used to have that for a while. I haven't checked out this site before. Huh. Well, this is interesting. Well, we might use this a little bit. But yeah, like we mentioned, we do have hurricane watches for Bermuda. Thankfully, Cuba took it seriously. A lot of people along the coast where the landfall is expected evacuated. Good. I'm glad to hear that for sure, yeah. From what I heard about Jamaica is that, in the early guidance, there was a lot of support of it going out by Kingston. So I heard that there was a lot of people that actually evacuated westward. And then the storm kept going west a bit, and the track shifted further west, and then of course it made that landfall there. I like this site. I like how it shows you the progress of the storm here. Yeah, it kind of wobbled. I remember because it stopped there for a minute, and then it turned around. Let's see, 75. Yeah, I mean it rapidly intensified here before it made that landfall. Yep, it made landfall as a Category 5. 185 sustained, which the pressure was 982, which was just wild. I mean, it remained a Cat 5 through pretty much all of Jamaica there. Then it came off as Cat 3, then briefly re-strengthened to Cat 4 there for a moment. And now we're back to an upper level Category 3. Yeah, we're only 5 mile an hour short, though, from a Cat 4, so... Yeah. See, landfall as a Cat 3 to Cat 5 isn't much of a difference in terms of danger. The only difference is the wind speed, but storm surge and flooding is basically going to be the same both places regardless. Yeah, regardless, there's still going to be catastrophic impacts here for, Jamaica and Cuba. Now it's just Cuba's turn, but yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, a lot of these impacts are still going to be very significant, in which, we obviously do need to be watching out here. Oh, here we go. Hold on a minute. We got radar view. Maybe? It's got some cones, but I don't see no radar. Come on, man. Shows accurate radar snow in real time. Radar does not currently cover all areas. Oh. Well, what? Okay, well, I guess... Wait, hold on. Is that a radar site there? What is that? Oh, is that like... Oh, I guess it's a weather station or something. Okay. I don't know. I'm still getting used to this. This is a brand new site here. I just pulled up. Let's see, praying for Jamaica. My heart breaks those in the path. I lived in southern Georgia. Watch Hurricane Helene, still dealing with the aftermath. I can't imagine what they're going to have to deal with. Yeah, Helene was a beast, for sure. I got Milton. Milton was worse for me here in Central Florida. But, yeah, no, they got hit pretty hard. It's going to take a long, long time. I mean, the effects are going to be felt for probably decades, to be honest with you. I mean, that extensive amount of damage is just nuts. So here's current sat view, y'all. This is what we're looking at. So you can see, like I said, we have a little bit of clearing in the eye here. I mean, it's not, it's not perfectly clean as it was like it hit Jamaica with, but it is definitely trying to get that eye visible just before landfall here. But, at the point now, we're not far from landfall, actually. We are right off the coast here of Cuba. Here, we'll bring you guys back over here for a minute. Yep, so we are just offshore from Cuba here. So the landfall will probably be, let's see here, pretty soon. Yeah, you can see just the eye is just right off here. Let's actually measure that. Let's see how far that is. Oh, yeah, it's only like 12 miles. Yeah, that disrupted eye wall is like 12 miles away from the coast here. So the center is right here. What was it, about 16 miles, 17 miles or so? Yeah, so about 17 miles from the center of the eye to the coast of Cuba here. Kyle says, "What's up, Andrew? Thanks for the overnight coverage." No problem, dude. I got you. Tori says 2:28 a.m. in Ontario, Canada. Let's see here. Just end up waiting for landfall. Really hope they don't get the same effects as Jamaica did. Unfortunately, they're going to definitely still get hit very hard. Not as significant as it was in Jamaica, but still catastrophic. It still is a major hurricane. They consider major hurricane Cat 3 and greater. We are at an upper level Cat 3. There isn't much difference here between a lower end Cat 4 and an upper end Cat 3, because it is an upper Cat 3 right now. Only 5 miles an hour short from a Category 4. So, so keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind. I know when people think of Cat 3 and Cat 4, they think of two totally different beasts, in which they are, but there's a narrow gap in upper Cat 3 strength and lower Cat 4 strength, in which that's where we're at right now. So it's right on the teeter-totter, basically. Jesse says, "Andrew, I'd also like to thank you for being on basically daily weather and not just disasters. There's a lot of disaster grifters out there on YouTube, so I appreciate your commitment." No problem, dude. I got you. Honestly, I really enjoy hanging out with the community and just talking about weather and, keeping you guys safe and weather aware, not just during these events, but you're very welcome, dude, and I really appreciate it. Let's see. Tori says structural damage I don't think will be as severe from the winds, but to be honest, flooding is going to be the main concern, to be honest. Florida. Where did that come from? Oh, flooding is going to be a really big concern. You can see here's the rain map here from the Weather Prediction Center here. Still, isolated amounts of 16 inches or more. This red area here is that 12 to 16 inch margin, which covers a lot of southeast Cuba. All of eastern Cuba is at least pretty much 8 to 12. I mean, we have a few little areas that's outside of that margin, but a lot of eastern Cuba here is in at least 8 to 12 inches, or 200 to 300 millimeters. But yeah, the winds. I mean, the winds aren't as strong, obviously, as they were for Jamaica. But remember, this thing's still a beast. Still sustained constant winds of 125. Still, absolute unit of a storm here. And of course, that's the sustained winds towards the eye wall. That's not counting the wind gusts, what the winds could actually briefly get to. I mean, we're likely gusting nearly 150, 140, 150 miles an hour right now. That's likely what we're actually gusting at the current moment. So you got to remember that. But then, some of the heavier concerns, like we mentioned, with the rainfall and stuff like that, we're still seeing, significant flooding concerns for these areas. And, the problem is, like we mentioned before, we talked about this a lot yesterday whenever it was hitting Jamaica. Like we mentioned before, though, it's like whenever you have so much rainfall, right, you have tons and tons of rain that falls, it really loosens up the ground, right? So it causes the ground to really loosen up. And then the winds come in, right? So the winds come in after the ground gets really loosened up. And that allows for these trees and power lines to really come down easily because the ground gets loosened up. And these really strong winds knock them over. I mean, even some pretty light winds could, knock some of the stuff over. But still, considering we have really significant winds, it makes it also, more susceptible to a lot more trees coming down and power lines and stuff like that. So, let's see here. Tori says Guantanamo Bay. Is that how you say that? Guantanamo Bay? I'm not good with names, by the way, everybody. You guys are going to learn that real quick if you're new here. Let's see. I'm curious how much storm surge expected in that area. So I don't have a storm surge map. I wish I did. The Hurricane Center, unfortunately, does not provide one. So I don't have a map of storm surge, unfortunately, for Cuba. But still, I mean, if I were to go off of like the winds alone, I'd say at least 5 to 10 feet. Definitely some pretty big surges out there. But like I said, take that with a grain of salt because I don't have a map here. Unfortunately, from what I've noticed with the Hurricane Center, they don't put maps unless it's like a storm hitting U.S. territory. That's one of the things that I've really noticed here. Let's see here. River water swallowed roads married St. Thomas. Insane. Wait, what was St. Thomas? Was that Jamaica? I swear there's another St. Thomas too. Where was St. Thomas? Let's see here. Heard up to 13 feet. Gotcha. Tori says, have I ever heard of the I don't even know how you say that. Mudslide that happened in Cali. Loads of rain fell, dislodging the ground and created mudslides, took out boulders, trees, etc. I did not hear about that. It's pretty wild. Jesse says 7 to 13 feet. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I know it's definitely still pretty significant. All right, y'all. Let's bring y'all over here to the current stuff, the current info on the storm. So right now, the yellow that you see here, so this yellow blob that you're looking at, this is where the estimated tropical storm force winds. So at this point in time, the tropical storm force winds are pulling out of Jamaica. We do have tropical storm warnings still in effect for Jamaica here. So, with that being said, Jamaica does still have warnings in place. They're not hurricane warnings, but they have been downgraded to tropical storm force. But, you can see here in the yellow, you can barely see me. The area here in the yellow, there is, those tropical storm force winds there kicking off. So, and then if you can barely see, you actually can't even see it. But right here where that yellow dot is, that's where the hurricane force winds are currently at here. So, anyway, so yeah, those are starting to finally roll inland here. All right, let's see. So, like I said, we're getting pretty close to the point of landfall here. Yeah, the hurricane force winds are definitely starting to fall here. Let's see how close the eye is. It's definitely wobbling quite a bit. Look at that. We are definitely wobbling. Here, let's pull up the measurements here. Go ahead and remeasure this here. So from the northern side, oh yeah, look at that. We're only like, I mean, technically the eye wall doesn't start right here. I mean, it's kind of in here. Eye wall is just like this area in general. So, I mean, the storm's eye wall is likely already starting to, like, roll inland here. But these, the inner eye wall is still a little ways away, about 8 miles, which is not far at all. Yeah, we're really coming up on landfall here very soon. The center of the eye, about 13 miles or so, 13, 14 miles away. So we're close. We're real close. And storm is moving northeast at 10, so it'll be within the hour, honestly. That will be making that landfall here. Here, let me bring y'all back over here for a minute. We're gonna hop back to this. Okay, so here's the latest cone. So movements northeast at northeast at 10. It did definitely picked up quite a bit of momentum essentially as compared to earlier here. Definitely did pick up quite a bit. Let's see. I'm shooting out convection in one of those yards. Haha. Oh, it's shooting out. I was gonna say you're shooting. I'm like, what? Bro, what? But anyways, yeah, we're moving northeast at 10 miles an hour. Max sustained winds is 125. 125. So like I said, we're gusting probably towards no, not that high. We're gusting probably towards 140 to 150 or so right now. So remember, sustained winds is constant winds. That's what the winds are, continuously blowing at. Not in the entire storm, just in the eye wall. Okay, remember that. The winds gradually pick up the closer you do get to the eye wall, with the strongest winds being in the eye wall, right? So that's what that means here. So the strongest winds are up to 125 right now in the eye wall. Now, whenever it comes to it, wind gusts, like we mentioned, is what the winds could peak to. Definitely could be having some higher wind gusts, which we're seeing upwards of about 140, 150 or so right now. Carrot says St. Thomas is in eastern Jamaica. Gotcha. Yeah, East Jamaica definitely. They are pretty lucky. Kingston got real lucky, but they definitely still got hit pretty darn hard here. A lot of these cameras are out, unfortunately. We do actually have the Kingston Harbor, I believe, still up and running here. Yeah, this one's still going, but can't really see a whole lot on it right now. I mean, it's nighttime now, so let's try this one here. Oh, that one's out. Okay. Yeah, I know most of these are offline. Yeah. Like I mentioned, though, Kingston, you guys got real lucky out there. Like I was mentioning a little bit ago, though, is that from what I heard, the people in Jamaica, in the earlier assessments before landfall, everybody was thinking that the system was going to impact, the eastern side of Jamaica, so everybody went westward. Then the forecast changed, and the storm went westward, and so everybody in the eastern side was over in the actual area that got hit. That's what I heard, unfortunately. But yeah, they definitely got hit pretty hard there. But anyways, everybody, if you're just now joining, first of all, welcome. Good to see ya. Hope you're doing well. But we're about to have that landfall here very, very, very soon. Here is the high res. This is the higher res satellite view that we have. This is the mesofloater. That's right, the mesofloater scale here. So the eye is only about less than 10 miles away from making landfall here. So we are on the final stretch. But like I mentioned here, the storm is still a beast. It is a Category 3. Now remember, it is only 5 miles an hour from a Category 4. So we're teeter-tottering between high-end Cat 3, low-end Cat 4. So, when people hear Cat 3, they think, oh, it's not as bad as Cat 4, which, I could see where you're coming from. But you got to remember, there is a transition point between Cat 3 and Cat 4, and right now we're right between. And believe it or not, actually, before, we actually did have a moment where it briefly became a Category 4 again here. Once it hit Jamaica, it hit obviously as a Cat 5. It came off of Jamaica as a Category 4. Then it downgraded to a Cat 3. Then it kicked back up here to a Category 4, and then now we're back down to Cat 3. Let's see here. Mofish says, let's see. Hi, just tuned in. Any live cameras in Cuba? Let's see. When is it expected to hit landfall? So we're expecting landfall here very, very soon. Like I said, we're less than 10 miles away from land right now. The eye is, so we're close. And unfortunately, we don't have any cameras here, sadly. Else I would definitely look. But yeah, let's see. We do have, apparently... This don't seem right. This is a new site here that I'm looking at. This is okay. You don't need to tell me every time. Anyways, let's see. Bowfish says, okay, thanks. No problem, dude. I got you. Yeah, like I said, if y'all have any questions, let me know. Let's see. From digging earlier, I found about 1/8 of the population in Jamaica lost power. About 43% of the population was out of internet access earlier today. And so far, 13 people confirmed deceased so far. That's so sad, dude. That's terrible. You know, those numbers are probably going to go up, unfortunately, because, you know, people are just now starting to come out because they've been in their shelters for a while. And, you know, those numbers are probably going to come up because they're probably going to find more people, unfortunately. It's real sad. Let's see. What's up? Boxing saying, good day from Australia. Good day, my friend. Good to see ya. Fox and Socks. I love your day, by the way. Says a second good day from Australia. Good to see you, dude. Glad to have y'all here. But does anyone know if the flat bridge survived in Jamaica? I honestly don't know where that's at, to be honest with you. So I have no idea. Anyways, folks, so if you're just tuning in, we are about to have landfall here yet again. You know, Melissa did briefly try to, you know, redevelop the eye, which, I mean, it did, you know, definitely cleared out a little bit of the eye here, but it's definitely not nearly as perfectly symmetrical as it was for, you know, Jamaica. But still, you know, don't get us wrong here. This is still a very significant storm here. I mean, we're still a major hurricane, Category 3. You know, we're sustaining 125 right now. We're gusting likely upwards of 140, 150 right now. So these winds are still absolutely strong. And, you know, I heard about 7 to 13 foot of storm surge is expected even out here, which they're getting a lot of that. So, you know, from the counterclockwise movement, you know, of these systems, so right now you can see there's a lot of that winds that are pushing against the coast here, which that is going to be essentially, you know, piling up all that water and pushing it inland. So, you know, that's really going to be a big concern for, you know, storm surge, because literally the winds are so strong that they're literally pushing the water into the coastal areas. Now, not to mention, you know, the amount of rainfall that we're going to be getting out here is really going to add to the flooding concern. I mean, if we hop back here, I can go ahead and show you guys that the rainfall map here. I mean, yeah, we have eastern Cuba here in that range of, you know, 12 to 16 inches of rainfall. You know, 300 to 400 millimeters total. If you guys use millimeters instead, you know, quite a bit overall. Let's see. Flat bridge is designed to handle flooding like this. Infrastructure should stand still after concrete is probably washed away a bit. Yeah, I haven't heard about that too much. What's up, Alyssa? Saying hello from Idaho. What's up, my friend? Do I have water temps north of Cuba? I can look. Yeah, they're actually still pretty warm out there. Here, let me bring this up here. Let's go back to ocean analysis. We'll do West Atlantic. Here we go. Okay, so, all right, right now where the storm's at, the waters are 30 Celsius. They were the same temperature as they were, you know, just south of Jamaica whenever it had landfall. But north, we're about 28, 29 Celsius, which is still very warm. Still very, very warm. You know, like we mentioned before, you know, for tropical development, you want that those sea surface temperatures to be at least 26 degrees Celsius or warmer. Any cooler than that, you know, typically it's kind of hard for tropical cyclone formation to occur. So, you know, the best environment is where you're at 26 or greater, essentially. But yeah, we're still pretty warm, you know, 28, 29 Celsius. System will continue pulling northeast here. You know, once it becomes about the same latitude as the Florida and Georgia line here, you know, at that point in time, you know, it'll eventually kind of go into those subtropical waters there. Boxing says it's crazy that hurricanes move in the opposite direction as we do here. Yeah, gotta love the Coriolis effect, huh? Pretty cool. People in Jamaica build their buildings out of concrete and steel to withstand intense heat and tropics, which helps against strong winds. Yeah, that's good for sure. Do I think Melissa will be weaker than forecast as it emerges from Cuba? It depends. You know, it's really kind of hard to, you know, tell how strong a storm is going to be after it goes over an area. You know, the terrain that we have here, we'll go ahead and bring you guys back over to the sat view. So the terrain that we have here is very mountainous. And, you know, what's a big problem with the terrain is that, you know, these storms here, they don't like it because it really disrupts the lower level circulation within the storms here. So they really don't like it too much, you know, essentially. So that's why they really weaken quite a bit. Plus, they can't get the heat, you know, all that warmth from the waters and stuff like that. So, but it's kind of hard to tell. But the Hurricane Center right now has the system kind of exiting, possibly as maybe a lower end Cat 3, maybe an upper Cat 2. It is forecast to be a Category 2 as we go out there by the central and southern Bahamas here. We're going to show you guys that. You know, so once we get to the central southern Bahamas, we'll be a Cat 2. It'll be later this evening, in which we'll be having sustained winds of about 105. We'll be gusting up to about 125 or so. So we'll definitely be watching it. Then it'll continue northeast here. The cone's pretty narrow now, you know, since we're going to be picking up some speed and we got more, you know, better idea on, you know, where it'll go. There's a pretty good amount of agreement with the models in terms of track anyways. And then, of course, we do end up out here by Bermuda. Let's see, we're going to be ending up here about the evening of the 30th. So, you know, we do actually have some hurricane watches in effect out there for Bermuda, in which we could be seeing some hurricane conditions out there as well. So we'll have to continue to monitor that, but they are in those watches, which will probably be upgraded to into warnings at some point here. So, anyways, so there is that. Here, let me bring you guys back over here. So we're going to go ahead and show you all the latest and greatest info on the storm here. So so right now, you can see that yellow blob there. So that is where the estimated tropical storm force winds are currently at here. So, you know, at this point in time, you know, we have all of eastern Cuba well within the tropical storm force wind field here, which they're not pretty far away from the Bahamas at this point in time here. You know, we're actually not too far away from, you know, where those tropical storm force winds are. But whenever it comes to it, you know, the hurricane force winds, you can't even really make it out. But right there under that little white dot that you see there, that is, you know, that's kind of where the hurricane force winds, which they are now starting to move inland here. In Australia, we don't get hurricanes, however. You guys get typhoons, which is a hurricane just with a different name. Let's see, however, bushfires are unfortunately common. Those bushfire-prone areas have to build specific fire-resistant material under law regulations. Gotcha. Surprised Florida doesn't have relevant building regulations. We do have regulations for buildings down here in Florida. Yeah, we do. Is it possible for it to regain momentum after it passes to Cuba, or is that unreasonable? Thanks. Yeah, no problem. So it's not really going to be picking up much strength after it goes off of Cuba. It's just going to be kind of on a weakening trend from that point forward. So, you know, whenever it comes to it, no, we're not really expecting anything. You know, we're not really expecting the system to regain any strength or anything like that. So... it's actually from there on, it is going to be on a bit of a weakening trend here overall. Let's see here. Easy says Florida updated their codes after Andrew. Yeah, I heard about that after Andrew of 92. The reason I know that is because mobile homes down here, they have to... there's different wind class readings, right? So there's different wind class readings, and they have to be, I think it's at least wind class 2. There's 1, 2, and 3. And I'm pretty sure down here along like the Gulf Coast and stuff like that, you know, where hurricanes are very common, they have to be at a specific level. You know, wind class 1 is like anywhere else other than the tropics. You know, wind class 2 is for like the tropical areas, and then wind class 3 is like, I think they have wind class 3 out, wind class 3 out there by like Miami and, you know, South Florida. But yeah, no, those have absolutely changed quite a bit here. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring y'all over to this view so you guys can kind of see both the hurricane view. Get rid of my fat head here for a moment. But anyways, yeah, so like I mentioned, right now, she is a Cat 3. And we are sustaining about 125 mile per hour winds here. We're gusting upwards of about 140, 130, 140, maybe even closer to 150 out there. So we're definitely gusting pretty heavily. Rod says more likely to maintain strength briefly, and then strengthening is what I'm saying. So no, we're not expecting it to strengthen after landfall. Matter of fact, it's just going to continue to weaken from this point forward. So it's going to be encountering a bit of wind shear in the future cast, which is, going to allow the system to weaken a bit. Right now, like we mentioned, it's a Category 3, sustaining 125. By the time we exit Cuba, it'll be likely lower in Cat 3, upper in Category 2, in which, it'll be going over the Bahamas here, the central southern Bahamas, as a Category 2 storm here. And it'll continue up to the northeast, but then it's going to roll into cooler waters, which will continue to further weaken the storm here. And then, of course, as we approach out there towards Bermuda, like I said, we do actually have hurricane watches out there for Bermuda. We got to look out there for. But by the time we approach out there, we'll likely be Category 1 strength here. So a lot weaker, but still, even a Cat 1 can have some pretty big impact. So keep that in mind. But at that point in time, we'll definitely be still quite a strong storm, but still sustaining about 90 miles an hour. Gusting about 115 or so, you guys can see there. Then, of course, the system will continue northeast, eventually working its way out well up to the north here. Let's see. Tori says, I posted some images and videos on your Facebook on your tropical discussion chart, Discord. Sounds good. Thank you. Tori, I don't think I can share any of that on here, sadly, because some of that's copyrighted and stuff. But I will be sure to look at it, and I'll be sure to leave a comment and stuff, letting you know. What's up, LNM? Good to see you watching from, was it Santiago de Cuba? I have no idea if I'm saying that right, which I have 99% of likelihood not saying that right. But good to see you, my friend. Please be careful. So anyways, y'all, this is the latest and greatest guidance that we have here. So the yellow blob that you see here, this is, once again, kind of where the estimated tropical storm force winds are currently at here. So this is where we're seeing those winds about 39 to 74 miles an hour. So that's tropical storm force. Here in the yellow blob. Now there is a little red blob here you can't see though, because it's that white dot's kind of all over it. But that's where the hurricane force winds are. Comparing the tropical storm force winds, the hurricane force winds are really tiny actually. But whenever it comes to it, it is under that little white dot. It's just really hard to see. But yeah, so the red lines that you guys see here, these are all hurricane warnings telling us, okay, hurricane conditions are expected. So, be sure to, to be prepared. I mean, you guys should be prepared by now, but if not, we still have a little bit of time to prepare out there by the Bahamas. Those tropical storm those tropical storm conditions have not reached out there quite yet, but they will be shortly. And all the stuff like that. So yeah, definitely, be sure to be ready for it. But yeah, that yellow there, that's just where the estimated tropical storm force winds are at right now. Let's see. It's honestly devastating. My doll, your doll. Man, I'm losing it, y'all. I've been doing so much coverage that my brain is fried at this point in time. So I sincerely apologize. You can't even see me. There we go. I sincerely apologize. Let me scoot over a little bit. Let's see. Honestly devastating. My jaw dropped after the aftermath. Let's see. I saw a video from Facebook. It's actually crazy. So many places got hit bad. Yeah. The West definitely got hit real hard. But, a lot of people were really focused on, Jamaica. People forget that also, Cuba is still going to get a significant landfall. Cuba's still going to have a really big problem with this system here. I mean, it's still a beast. It still absolutely is a, quite a beast of a storm here. And, We are still seeing significant storm surge. We're talking, from what I heard, like 7 to 13 foot down there. Tons and tons of flooding being a big concern out there as well. All kinds of big concerns here. Actually, we'll go ahead and bring up the flooding map for you guys again so you all can see the rainfall. But yeah, we're getting, quite a bit of rain out there. So, the Weather Prediction Center, the WPC, still has the eastern side of Cuba out there, seeing that potential of 12 to 16 inches of rainfall, which is about 300 to 400 millimeters. So I know a lot of you guys don't like to use inches, but they also include the millimeters. So, still a lot of really heavy rain. They even mentioned, in this area here of southeast Cuba, that we could be seeing some isolated amounts of like 16 inches or more overall. Let's see. IR imagery looks ragged. It's weakening for sure. Yeah, it's, it had a little bit of time. It cleared out that eye. Here, let's actually look at that now. It looks like we're at the point of landfall. We're getting ready to have that landfall here. Let's see. Go ahead and do a measurement here. So there's the center of the eye right there. Oops. Okay, so from the center of the eye to the land from the coast is about 5 miles. But the eye wall is already over the land at this point. So, I mean, yeah, the landfall has officially begun. Also, need to have a Discord server. Let's see. You're an active Discord user and the first live storm coverage YouTuber I've seen in the Discord server. Oh, well, I'm glad to have you. Thanks for joining. Still a strong hurricane. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. While it is not like it was for Jamaica, people still underestimate, how strong the storm still is. It's crazy. Hope you've gotten some sleep in the last couple of days. Not much. I've been just streaming so much lately. It's been crazy. So I mean, I haven't had a whole lot of sleep, sadly, but like I mentioned, it's worth it. My sleep is not nearly as important as y'all's safety. All right, so let's see. We're going to hop y'all back over here to the cone. We'll go ahead and go to the static image here. So this is the... Where'd it go? Hold on. It'll take a second to pop up, I think. Hello? There we go. That was weird. Anyways, but yeah, here's the latest code. So, yeah, from this point forward, we have a pretty good idea in terms of where the system's going to ultimately go. It's, once again, not going to be a problem for the United States. I know there's a lot of people who were wondering, if this storm was going to be a big issue for the United States or not, in which, no, it is not going to be a big problem for the U.S. At all, which is good. But, like I mentioned, we have that direct landfall in Cuba starting to occur now. And then after that, it's going to go over the Bahamas, Category 2. It'll continue going northeast, and eventually it will go out there to Bermuda, in which we're going to be seeing hurricane watches are actually already in effect here. Eventually will be hurricane warnings, more than likely. At that point in time, it'll be a Category 1 storm as it approaches Bermuda. We'll be gusting. Let's see what they actually have for it here real quickly. The cone... So as it approaches past, so there's Bermuda right there. As it approaches near Bermuda, we'll still be gusting about 115 miles an hour or so, and we'll be having sustained winds of about 90 miles an hour. So still, even that's still a pretty strong storm. Absolutely. What's up, Sean? Good to see ya. Hope you're doing good. Hope you are doing well, my friend. But anyways, so that's that. Let's go and hop you guys back over here to the rainfall projections. Yeah, definitely going to be one of the biggest concerns here is all that flooding there. So we're going to be seeing, a good isolated amount of about 12, or we're seeing about 12 to 16 inches here in the red with isolated amounts of 16 or more. So definitely quite a bit overall. Here, let me go ahead and enable our camera again. I did turn off my light, so it's a little bit better. See, is Melissa going to make another landfall? It's actually doing it right now, yeah. So it's going to make a couple more landfalls, unfortunately. So first of all, it's making landfall now, actually, in Cuba. That has officially begun. We should have a new update from the Hurricane Hunters, actually, or sorry, the Hurricane Center. We'll look at the Hurricane Hunters in a minute. But yeah, the landfall has begun now. It's going to be hitting eastern Cuba. Right now, it's in upper Cat 3, lower Cat 4. Okay, so we're sustaining right now 125 mile an hour winds, which we're likely gusting about 140, 150 right now. Pressure right now is down to 952 millibars. Now, the system will continue pulling to the north. It'll be exiting Cuba as, let's see here. It'll be exiting Cuba, still likely as maybe a lower Cat 3. And of course, we'll go through the Bahamas here. At that point in time, we'll be right around Category 2 strength, about 105 sustained, gusting about 125 or so as we make that either that swipe by or that potential landfall. We do have some islands here that's in the cone of uncertainty, so we definitely could be seeing possibly a direct Bahamian landfall. We'll have to see what happens. Kind of a hit or miss there, but regardless, conditions are going to be pretty nasty. From the way it looks. Bermuda, it seems like the latest guidance suggests that Melissa will be just west of Bermuda. But if you notice, Bermuda is still on the edge of the cone, so it's theoretically possible, but more than likely we'll just scrape by on the western side of Bermuda. So, yeah. Andrew may mention the riptide warnings on the east coast of Florida for anyone feeling comfy. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be quite a bit of, let's see here, definitely be quite a bit of concern for rip currents and stuff like that. Here, we'll go and pull up that map from the Hurricane Center here. Let's see, do they not, why are they, oh, there we go. I was going to say, it's taking a minute to load here. Yeah, so we do actually have some rip current or high rip current risks here for the northern side of Florida. We have kind of moderate risk here in the yellow, but that actually goes up across the southeastern coast. That's today. Tomorrow, threat is pretty high for a lot of eastern Florida's coast. Let's see, what city is it making landfall-ish in Cuba? So, here, let's bring this back up here. So Cuba, don't get me wrong, my pronunciation's terrible, but out there by Loma del Gato is where that's at. Daniel says, any news from Jamaica? I do not have much news as of right now. We'll be getting some more information, though, over the next little bit. Here, we'll go and bring up our sat view here. I actually want to bring up lower water vapor scan here. Still has quite a bit of moisture, though. I mean, you can see there's a lot of dry air off of the in the Gulf and such, but system, very, very wet system, had tons and tons of moisture associated with it. Sean says, how much rain? Let me bring that up for you. Going to bring up that map here for you guys. Yeah, rain's going to be one of the biggest concerns here. You can see southeast Cuba, we do have the red here being 12 to 16 inches, which is 300 to 400 millimeters of rainfall in the red. Now, the orange, that is 8 to 12 inches, which is 2 to 300 millimeters of rainfall overall. So that's, definitely quite a bit of significant rainfall. And, given the terrain out here, there's going to be a lot of that water, rolling down into the valleys, and, it's going to be a bit of a flooding problem overall. So we definitely got to be aware of that. Flooding is definitely a really big concern out here. Confidence is pretty low, though, for the southern kind of central Bahamas as the system rolls through. there is a pretty good streak of about 8 to 12 inches that goes out there just east of, I believe that's Long Island, it says. Kind of out there by like San Salvador. So definitely going to be getting quite a bit. Let's see here. What website am I using? Right now I'm on a Hurricane Center's website, nhc.noaa.gov. Let's see. I was stationed at GTMO back in the day, so I was curious. I got you. What was the strongest hurricane ever? Typhoon Tip. 870 millibars. That's the one with the lowest pressure anyways, and the biggest storm. I want to say the strongest was Patricia. I think they had like, what, 215 sustained, I think Patricia had. It was a very compact, very strong little storm. All right, let's bring up current warnings and stuff. Actually, yeah, we're going to bring that up real fast for y'all. So I'll go ahead and show you guys like the current warnings and such. So we do have hurricane warnings in effect out there for eastern Cuba, for the central and southern Bahamas, and of course, these blue areas. These are all tropical storm warnings, by the way. So tropical storm warnings here in the blue, hurricane warnings in the red. And we do have hurricane watches in effect out there for the pink areas here, which, that's out there in Bermuda. What was Hurricane Katrina's pressure? I don't remember, to be honest. That's something that you can look up on Google or something. Some people are walking weather encyclopedias. I can barely remember what I ate for breakfast, so yeah. Patricia max sustain was 250. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, Patricia was a beast, but it was a tiny little system. Bigger systems overall have a harder time at achieving stronger winds because, they have to use a lot of energy to maintain their wind field, because they're huge. Littler systems can, strengthen quicker. They can, achieve higher wind speeds because they're smaller, and they can, they don't spread their energy as much. Let's see here. Yeah, so the right-hand side of these systems, we do have a tornado concern. So there absolutely could be some water spouts and, some tornadic concern here for eastern Cuba. All right, let's. I think we're actually having that landfall happen now. Here, we're going to bring up our camera here again for you guys. I like to hide my big, ugly, fat head there for a little bit so you guys can see the sat a little bit better. But, yeah, let me bring this up real fast. We'll hop to clean infrared. Yep, so the eye is officially now over land. So the landfall has begun, everybody. Yeah, look at that. Immediately, as soon as that eye wall touched Cuba, immediately that clear slot disappeared. I mean, it's already not liking it. Even some of those, outer and middle bands here are, right over. I mean, literally half of the hurricane right now is over Cuba. Let's see. To put in perspective, Hurricane Katrina was the 8th strongest hurricane on record. This far, Hurricane Melissa is tied to 3rd most strongest. Yeah, I did hear about that, actually. Yeah, definitely a beast. Honestly, like we mentioned, Melissa was one of the lowest pressures I've seen in a hurricane. At, like I said, 892 millibars, which is just absolutely crazy. Right now, here, let me bring back up the Hurricane Center. Actually, yeah, we need to look at the latest update. Last update was 2 a.m. actually. So yeah, 2 a.m. This was an hour ago. We had 125 sustained central lows down to 952 millibars. Storm's moving, so the movement of the storm is northeast at 10 miles per hour. Tori says the 1935 Labor Day hurricane also had a recorded pressure of 892 millibars. Wow. We didn't have the hurricane hunters back then, I don't believe, so. What's up, Jeffrey? Saying hello from Costa Rica. What's up, my friend? Good to see you. Saying, what is the category currently? It is a Cat 3. Upper level Cat 3. It's 5 mile an hour short from a Cat 4. So, I mean, it's high-end Cat 3, low-end Cat 4. See, Hurricane Melissa, as far as we're aware, it's been the #1 direct eye record. Driest. Why did I read direct? Driest eye record from a hurricane in Atlantic in history. Yeah, I saw that. It was super dry. Super dry. So the hurricane has made its way in history. It has. Absolutely. Imagine living in these Caribbean countries, building your house out of metal every time. It's like they're daring these storms to do the worst. Yeah, it's sad, because a lot of people, though, in Jamaica, where we had that, that first landfall, there's a lot of lower income places out there in Jamaica, which, people can't afford to either A, leave. They can't afford tickets to get out. They can't afford to prepare, really. And some people can't even afford, you can't, afford to rebuild sometimes. It's just, it's terrible. It's very sad. Let's see, Rod says 120 next advisory. What's my next guess? I don't know. We'll have to see what the Hurricane Center puts up. I'm not giving a guess, though, because it could be anything. All right, let's switch this back over here. Actually, yeah, let's look at the Hurricane Hunters. We did have a mission. I don't think we have any missions in right now. Yeah. Sadly, I think all of our missions at the moment are donezo. Yeah, it's been a moment since they were in the storm. Actually, they don't usually fly in them when they're over land. Like, they can't do drop sondes or anything like that, because if they end up dropping these probes, they could hit something. So they only do that over water. Quite a beast, though. Let's see, Tallahassee, Florida weather for tomorrow. Well, this is hurricane coverage. We're not really covering. We're not doing zip code forecast right now, but pretty sure it's supposed to be pretty clear out there. I would literally have to go out of my way to, do a complete breakdown. I mean, I guess I can, but like I mentioned, this is a bit of weather coverage, or hurricane coverage here. So we do have a low over by the Midwest. It looks like we have a little bit of a cold front coming through. Let's see here. Yeah, this afternoon it looks like we could be getting a cold front. I don't know if the SPC. Here, let me check SPC real quickly. I don't know if they have any severe weather risks or anything like that today. We got a marginal. Yeah, no, we'll be all right. We don't have any big time severe weather events or anything like that scheduled. Anyways, back to Melissa. People act like they don't have internet. I know, right? It's like I want to be nice and do people's forecasts, but at the same time, it's like Google exists. I get it. I mean, I have a weather channel, but like I said, this is hurricane coverage. This is, I'm not trying to be mean. It's all good. All right, let's hop back over here, y'all. We're gonna go back to the latest rainfall totals. So, like I said, rain is definitely gonna be quite a bit of a problem here if this thing will ever load. So hopping back to the rainfall, but yeah, like I said, we do have definitely a lot of rain coming in. Are you ever going to load? I think there's so many people looking at the Hurricane Center page right now. It's just so much traffic. Anyways, but yeah, you can see here for eastern Cuba, southeastern side of Cuba, we do have a pretty good spot of heavy rainfall there in the red, indicating that's 12 to 16 inch margin there, which is 3 to 400. 3 to 400 millimeters of rainfall. And here in the orange, we have that 8 to 12 inch margin, which is 2 to 300 millimeters overall. So definitely quite a bit of rain, and you guys got to remember that all this water is going to be going down the mountains into the valleys. Kind of a similar thread as it was for Jamaica. There's going to be a lot, quite a bit of flooding being a big concern. And, for the southern coast, of course, we're going to have those storm surge concerns there. And the problem is, with all this rainfall that we get here, all this rainfall that we end up pulling, it's a problem because it really loosens up the ground, essentially. And by doing that, these winds being as strong as they are, make it real easy for, trees and power lines, to come down and stuff like that. So that's why it's a really, really big concern. Let's see here. Tanya, is it Tanya? I think it is. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm not good with names, by the way. Like I said, if y'all are new here, y'all are going to learn very quickly. I am terrible with names. People names and town names is something that I am not good at. So I'm just warning you now. Anyways, y'all. Let's see here. Sometimes leaving isn't always an option. Evacuating costs money, a luxury that not everyone has the means to do. Absolutely, Tori. I was actually mentioning that earlier. It's like some people, they can't afford to leave. They can't afford to get the equipment to prepare for systems, and they can't afford to repair after storms, which is just sad. Like Jamaica, like we mentioned, is there is quite a bit of lower income areas out there in Jamaica, which, makes it very difficult, for some people. Let's see. A lot of people stayed to save their homes and businesses. Sad how desperate people are to save what they have. That's true. Yep. And I think a lot of the problem was too, or I think a big problem with this system is that people were so focused on Jamaica that they were forgetting that we literally still have significant problems for Cuba. Everybody was so spotlight was all on Jamaica, which is good. But like we mentioned, now it's Cuba's turn. This system is already pulled out of Jamaica at this point in time. Here, let me bring. What did I do with my program here? Where'd it go? Hold on a minute. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm losing tabs here, man. Anyways, so at this point in time, the landfall has occurred. As you guys can see, the eye is now officially over Cuba. Half Pint says, has it come to Cuba? Yep, it has. It is now officially making that landfall. Yep, so the center of the eye is now officially over there. So from now on, it'll definitely continue to weaken quite a bit. Once again, right now it is sustained. It hit, oh, look at that. They actually just updated it. We're now down to 120 sustained. Okay, so we're 10 short from a Cat 4. Still not that far from Category 4 strength. So it made landfall here, 121 or 120 sustained for rounding. Pressure down to 952 millibars. So Category 3, as it pulls off of Cuba, it'll likely be either a upper level Category 2 or a lower end Cat 1. Or, sorry, I just said that wrong. Either an upper level Cat 2 or a lower level Cat 3. Like I said, my brain's fried from the last several days of coverage. Like, I don't know. I've fried some wires in there somewhere. But anyways, yeah. So also here for we can't forget about people in the Bahamas too. Let's see, we do have Category 2 landfall once or near approach. Possible landfall. It just depends on where the eye goes. I mean, it could, or the center could squeeze between. But there's a lot of islands right here. I mean, it could definitely hit them. But it'll be a Cat 2. Definitely still some significant impacts out there, even for the Bahamas. I mean, even a Cat 2 is no joke. It's really bad for coastal areas here. Here he goes. Here you go, y'all. There's the meso floater satellite imagery here. Let's see. Bear, that's not what I meant out of that. You know that. Yeah, I deeply care for the people of Jamaica, and if I didn't, I wouldn't have done so much coverage on you guys. So, see, the people in the Bahamas, Cuba, chance could get severe weather. Yeah, I mean, severe flooding. Yeah, so flooding is going to be a big problem for also. I mean, even the Bahamas too. Here, we'll bring back up the NHC real fast. A little bit lower confidence for the Bahamas. Let's see. Yep, so you can see we do have like San Salvador. They're going to be in about 8 to 12 inches, 200 to 300 millimeters here. Let me make it a little bit bigger. I just noticed you guys are looking at that one. There we go. Yep, so San Salvador is in that orange, which the lower confidence, the totals could definitely change quite a bit. But as of now, we're in about 8 to 12 inches, or 200 to 300 millimeters here. Long Island, we're about 8 to 12, and 200 to 300 millimeters as well. Out there by like Crooked Island, we're in 6 to 8. Let's see. Mountain areas can be dangerous. The water dislodges the top layer of the ground, taking boulders, trees, long slides with it. Yeah, definitely. That's one of the really big concerns. It's like, like we were mentioning, with all of the rain that we're getting, really loosening up the ground and everything. With all of that, causing the ground to become very, very loose. These winds come through and really knock down, some of those trees and. And some of those power lines and stuff like that, which makes them pretty easy to come down. So, Bareback, as well as I do that I wasn't talking like that. I wasn't mentioning everybody as that. I was saying that there is some lower income people who can't afford to leave and stuff like that. So. Don't be putting stuff in my mouth, dude. But anyways, y'all. No drama here. This ain't a place for drama. This is a place for weather updates, y'all. Let's see here. Tony says the recorded wind speeds in Kingston, Jamaican area were... Wait, Kingston? Had 185? Oh, the record. Okay, this is probably not from this system. Yeah, from this system, I know we were forecasting about... let's see. I know we were forecasting about 50. I think it was 50 sustained, and we were gusting about 70-ish or so, somewhere around there. Anyways, but y'all hopping over here. This is the latest estimated wind fields. For the tropical storm force winds here in the yellow blob that y'all see here. So we do have this area. We do have that tropical storm force winds here for eastern Cuba. As you can see, those are actually starting to approach the Bahamas here as well. We do have, the hurricane force winds, which is definitely, definitely, you can barely even see it. It's right under that white dot there. So, yeah, Kate, definitely not. I was just mentioning it. Just saying that there is people in lower incomes that can't afford to leave. Which is sad. I mean, that's anywhere you're at. I mean, everywhere has lower income areas. But we're gonna drop the subject now. Like I said, no need for drama here. It's not what we're here for. We're here to help save lives, not cause fights. Let's see. Tori says a lot of coverage was done in some lower income areas in Jamaica. Some places were by the coast where there was a lot of local fish shops, etc. Many locals mentioned not leaving because they couldn't. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people didn't want to leave because they didn't want to leave any of the stuff behind and stuff. And then, like I mentioned, some people just couldn't leave, because they couldn't afford to, sadly. And that's what I was saying, is that it's just sad. Those poor people that have to go through that. It's terrible. Anyways, y'all, so here's the sat view. Y'all can see it pretty well. The eye is pretty much completely gone at this point. So whenever it comes to it, we are seeing here, we are seeing the eye pretty much completely gone at this point in time. It's definitely pretty unstable at the moment, because of that lower level disruption from the mountain ranges and stuff like that. So, thank you, Brittany. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Like I said, yeah, we're just here to help. That's the whole point of the channel here. Same thing happened to people in the U.S. during Katrina. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Let's see. I mean, Katrina was definitely really bad here in the States. All right, y'all, hopping over here to the wind history, so you guys can really see where those hurricane force winds went here. They started over just south of Jamaica, and then, of course, we started to get, that frontal interaction. The system did move eastward here. Because of that frontal system, allowed the system to pull its way over here to the north. So, ahead of the frontal system, we have the parallel winds to the front itself. And then behind it, we have the perpendicular winds. But, ahead of the front, we had the system get dragged to the north because of this low pressure system we had up just off the mid-Atlantic coast here. So, anyways. Yeah, I know it's a little messed up. Let me maybe fix it. Is that better? There we go. My bad. See, feel bad for the dogs. Yeah, the animals too. I mean, it's terrible. But anyways, yeah, this was updated a while ago. This hasn't been updated in a few moments. So, yeah, at this point in time, the hurricane force winds are indeed over Cuba. We'll go ahead and bring you guys over here to the latest sat view. But yeah, it is officially making landfall here. We are sustained at the moment, so we did have that 3 a.m. update here, which has us sustained at a whopping 120 mile an hour sustained winds, in which we're gusting likely towards 140 or so right now. So, see, when it officially hit Jamaica for the first time, there was a lot of live streams, a lot of coverage, but unfortunately all the cameras got damaged and some of the cameras survived. Yeah, there was a lot that went down. We were actually trying to get some of those cameras out there, but a lot of them went down. I mean, even still, because of power outages and, or the cameras could have been, damaged themselves. I mean, yeah, most of these cameras that we have are just down. I think a lot of it's probably with, the power outages and such. But anyways. But yeah, we are making landfall now, y'all. So the system has made landfall, and it will continue to go through. So it's going to be going through Cuba as a Category 3. It'll be exiting as either a upper level Cat 2 or a lower end Cat 3 here. And then, of course, by the time we approach the Bahamas, like we mentioned, we will be at a Category 2 strength here. So by later this evening, here, showing 8 p.m. Eastern, it's kind of when it starts to kind of pull out of the Bahamas. But it'll be sometime later this afternoon today is when we're going to have the direct impacts for the Bahamas, which we'll be doing some more coverage over there. So, anyways. Is there any inside information on Cuba? Is there any live streams? What's happening right now? There's not many cameras out here. Unfortunately, also, I don't have much weather stations here either, so we really just have to look at satellite, and we'll give you guys updates on it and stuff. But we'll give you updates on like the rainfall and current position, wind speed, pressure, all that stuff. So right now, we did. Here, let's go and bring this back up. We did just get a new update here not too long ago. Let's see. So from Melissa, the latest Hurricane Center update has the storm here. Okay, so we are sustained at 125. This was a 2 a.m. update, though. The 3 a.m. update has the sustained at 120. So just want to clear that up with you guys. So it's at 120 sustained right now. So constant winds in the eye, right around 120. And we are seeing gusts of right around 140, 150 or so overall. So definitely, still very significant. Not as strong, like we mentioned, as the Jamaica landfall. Not as strong, but still, like I mentioned, it's still significant impacts here overall. But anyways. Yeah, there's really not a lot of cameras out here, unfortunately. But like I said, movements northeast at 10 miles an hour. Go ahead and give you guys a better satellite view, actually. We'll go ahead and move that over there for a minute. So we are moving northeast at 10 miles an hour. We definitely, have picked up a little bit of forward movement. Before it was moving very slow. Before that frontal system, ended up dragging the storm to the north, essentially. Will the wind bands hit Florida? No, this is going to be completely fine for everybody here in Florida. So yeah, everybody will be all right in Florida. The only thing for Florida, like we mentioned before, is going to be the let's see here. Is only going to be those rip currents are going to be the concerns. Here, let's hop back over here. So yeah, tomorrow we do have a pretty high rip current risk out there, and actually on both coasts of Florida here, you guys can see. Yeah, we got a high rip current risk. Also, for a lot of the southeastern United States here, even like coastal North Carolina too, we're having some rip current concerns. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for those rip currents. That's probably about as much as the impacts we'll get for the states is just going to be, in terms of rip currents and stuff. Anyways, here, we'll bring you guys back over here. Let's hop on over here back to the rainfall potential. So like we mentioned, one of the biggest concerns, kind of similar to what Jamaica was going through with Cuba, is just the sheer volume of water that's going to be involved with the system. Because we have, first of all, the surges. We're talking, 7 to 12 feet or so of storm surge on the southern side of Cuba, which is probably the highest right now. But, on top of that, we have a lot of rain here, a lot of fresh water falling too, in which, we do have this red area here in southern Cuba where we are going to be seeing, a good 12 to 16 inches or so, which is equivalent to 300 to 400 millimeters overall. So definitely, definitely quite heavy on the rain side of things, which is going to be a big issue. And, that's going to be really softening up the ground. And as those, really strong winds roll in, is going to allow for a lot of these trees and, a lot of those power lines and stuff to come down, unfortunately. Let's see. Crazy how many people actually experience this. Yeah, this storm's actually hitting a lot of places. It hit Jamaica first, Cat 5, Cuba second, upper Cat 3, lower Cat 4. And then, of course, it's going to be hitting the Bahamas as a Category 2, more than likely. It just depends on the kind of condition it's in by the time it pulls out. But yeah, it'll be right around Category 2 strength. And then, of course, it'll be coming really close to Bermuda, in which we're going to be, right at a Category 1 strength, essentially, is what the Hurricane Center has, the same, being at that point. Let's see. Never forget when the remnants of Hurricane Ike went through the area of Columbus, Ohio in 2008. I guess of 85. Wow. Goodness. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, the strongest storm that I've been through is Milton of last year. I'm here in Polk County, Florida. which we at the time it hit me, it was a Cat 2. Still quite of a beast. Actually, I have my own mesonet, my own weather station. It's scientific grade, which that I measured a pressure of, what was it, 971, I think it was 971, 972. Pretty darn low. It was quite a beast. That's the strongest storm I've been through. I mean, that was crazy, and that was only like a low end Cat 2 that I went through, and it was pretty wild. And it's just crazy to even imagine something that's just much more significant like that. It's just sad. It's just crazy. And like I said, my prayers will be for the people who are being affected, both from Jamaica, both from Cuba. The Bahamas mean literally anywhere. First how scary wind is. It is terrifying. It is terrifying. And I've seen videos of Cat 5 of 180 mile an hour winds like we just seen in Jamaica. I mean, it's nuts. It is crazy. Let's see here. But yeah, no, wind is definitely crazy. And whenever I was outside during that, it was it just wants to move you so much. The wind hits you like a brick wall. It's something else. All right, y'all. Let's get the big sat up. Move my fat head for a minute. But anyways, so let's hop back over here. Actually, we're gonna take a look back at the other sat too. Where's my tab? Here we go. Yep, so if you guys are wondering at this point in time, the landfall has occurred. We are officially making landfall. So the center is right in here. You can see where that little last blip of the eye is left over. Just a little guy. But yeah, that's where the center is. It is officially now over Cuba. So we're getting some of the worst conditions right now in Cuba. And then, like we mentioned, it'll continue to roll through East Cuba as a Category 3. It'll be exiting likely as a lower Cat 3, maybe upper Cat 2. And then, of course, it'll go out there by the Bahamas as a Cat 2. Sleeveless says, I appreciate you covering this, hitting Cuba. Everybody covered Jamaica for a good reason. However, Cuba is getting nailed by a Cat 4. Near Cat 4. Definitely going to require Cuba needing help as well, for sure. I mean, even the Bahamas, that's like I was mentioning a little bit ago, is that everybody had the spotlight on Jamaica, and people were forgetting that there's other areas that's going to be heavily impacted by the system. Kind of similar to Andrew. Hurricane Andrew back in '92. It hit Miami as a Cat 5. Fort Lauderdale. I think it was South Fort Lauderdale. It's out there by Miami, but it hit as a Cat 5. Everybody was so focused on Florida that we forgot that it also hit Louisiana as a Cat 4. It's a very similar situation here. You know what I'm saying? So people forget that there's other areas too, in which that's why I really wanted to cover all these areas with you guys. But yeah, we have Cuba next, and then after this, after Cuba, which it's doing now, we have the Bahamas, and then maybe even Bermuda, which you can see Bermuda here is on the eastern cone, in which by then, it'll still be, like Category 1 strength by the time we approach, which will be kind of for the evening of the 30th. So, yeah, it's quite an impactful storm, not just for Jamaica, but, Jamaica definitely got it, some of the most worst of it, essentially. Let's see, Tori says, same with Hurricane Helene hit Florida. People focused on that without realizing the incredible destruction from the flooding landslides that came in North Carolina. Yeah, North Carolina got absolutely flooded out there. It was so sad to see. They got so much rainfall. Absolutely. Yeah, it's... People got to remember that, there's other areas here, too, that's getting impacted, so... Anyways, y'all, here's a look at the rainfall forecast. So, yeah, East Cuba, we're going to be seeing quite a significant amount of rainfall here, too. We do have this area here in the red, which is for the southeastern side of Cuba, which we're going to be talking about 12 to 16 inches of rain, or about 300 to 400 millimeters. How much rain did Jamaica get? We got about so we were supposed to be getting about 40 plus inches in some of east and central Jamaica. Definitely got a lot. I mean, there's still even as a bit of rain still for Jamaica on some of those lower bands here. We could still get a little bit more rainfall, but yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, but like I mentioned here, quite a bit of rainfall. The orange you can see 8 to 12 inches. The yellow 4 to 6. Dark green 2 to 4. And the light green is 1 to 2. We do have a little bit of a lower confidence zone you guys can see up here towards the Bahamas. There's a little bit more uncertainty with that area, in terms of how much rainfall. Like I mentioned, a lot of it has to do with what kind of condition the storm is going to be in by the time it pulls away from Cuba. Given Cuba's geography, and the mountainous terrain, that is really destructive for tropical cyclones. Tropical cyclones are mostly developed on the surface. They have a really strong surface structure. I mean, they're vertically stacked, but some of the strongest winds are on the surface. And so basically, whenever you have the system that rolls over the mountains, it really disrupts that lower level wind circulation. That circulation there, which is definitely definitely going to cause the system to wobble a bit, cause it to weaken quite a bit, and all that stuff. So, so moving all the way over here to the current information. So the yellow here, this is that estimated tropical storm force winds. You can see at this point in time, the tropical storm force winds is pulling away from Jamaica. We obviously still have all of pretty much eastern Cuba in the tropical storm force conditions here. At this point in time, Cuba's kind of getting the worst of it since the landfall process has begun. And, the hurricane force winds is under the white area here, that little white dot. The hurricane force winds is pretty tiny when comparing to the tropical storm force. But yeah, they're starting to get those there now. Now, the red lines that you guys see here across the Bahamas, these are all hurricane warnings. So hurricane warnings still in effect here for eastern Cuba, of course, and of course the Bahamas, central southern Bahamas. Jamaica has been downgraded from the hurricane warnings now down to tropical storm warnings. But, like I mentioned, the winds have started to subside, have started to finally get better out there by Jamaica. So we are definitely in a little bit more better condition as we were earlier. And then, of course, you go up to Bermuda. Can't forget about there. We have a little pink area, which that equivalents to a hurricane watch. Like I mentioned, we're going to have a pretty close call to hurricane conditions potentially out there by Bermuda. Like I said, it depends on where it goes. Majority of model guidance kind of suggests that the system will just go to the west of Bermuda. So let me actually bring up the hurricane models. I'm curious to see kind of what we're looking at there with that. It doesn't really show, but I will bring them over here for sure. So you can see there's the hurricane models. You can't even see Bermuda because the models kind of have it going right over Bermuda. But yeah, so Bermuda's going to have a pretty close call with direct hurricane conditions, in which we'll have to, also look out there for here overall. So definitely wanted to mention that with you guys. So that's the current info on there. Here's the wind history. This has not been updated here in a little bit, but you can see where some of those hurricane force winds were out there in western Jamaica. Pretty much the west side of Jamaica got those hurricane force winds, and then of course you can see just south when it became a hurricane. The system did that aggressive turn because of that frontal system that kind of rolled through. So, anyways, yeah, there's not many cameras available. Actually, I don't have any cameras available because of the terrain out here. I mean, there's not a whole lot of information here. The most that we can give you is the current status of the storm. Satellite imagery and current strength and, current forecasts and stuff like that. We can give you literally everything else. It's just, there's not a whole lot of views out here. Not to mention, even if we had a lot of cameras, a lot of them would eventually go down because of power outages and stuff like that, So, like I said, there's a lot of water involved. We're getting a lot of rainfall to be falling out of the system here, which is really loosening up the ground quite a bit. And, we'll definitely... going to be losing a lot of power in, a lot of these regions and stuff like that. So, that's another thing we'll probably, only will, I lost what I was going to say. Y'all, I like I said, my brain is fried, dude. I've been pushing in them hours for coverage, and it's been affecting the functionality of my brain. So I severely apologize. But, I think I remember what I was talking about. Yeah, a lot of rain, really loosening up the ground, which is going to cause, a lot of trees to come down, a lot of power lines to come down, which is just a big problem overall. So, yeah, those cameras would probably not even have power or internet. So, let's see here. We had the Great Storm of 1987 UK, sustained winds of just 87 miles an hour, which caused a lot of damage to Southeast. What we don't have is a sheer amount of rain dumped or 100-plus mile-an-hour winds. I mean, even 87 is significant. I mean, that's about the same speed I've witnessed in Milton, and I was literally watching palm trees at a 90-degree angle. Honestly, one thing that you guys will never understand until you've been in a hurricane is just how flexible palm trees are. That is the one thing that I learned during Milton of last year, was just how flexible these palm trees are, which is crazy. I mean, it makes sense because they've adapted to the environment, constantly being battered by these coastal storms. It's like they've evolved, it seems, to be able to withstand these systems a lot more, which is pretty cool, but, still makes it pretty difficult when, here, we're going to bring this back here. It's better. My fat head takes up too much screen room. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't really help though whenever you do get a lot of rainfall like we're seeing, and then the winds come through, which the rain loosens everything up essentially, which is a big problem. On top of that, you got like mudslides and stuff like that being a concern just by the sheer volume of water that's really involved with these systems here, the amount of rainfall that you get, and I mean just everything. It's pretty wild. But anyway, so yeah, that's that. So we're going to hop y'all back over here. We're going to look back at the other program here, if I can even find my tab again. I keep losing this darn tab. Where'd it go? Let's see. Maybe it was... Oh, it's literally right here. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, so everybody, if you're just now tuning in, we are officially at the point of landfall. So at the current moment here, we are sustaining 120 mile an hour winds is what the Hurricane Center has this thing at as of the last update. We actually should have a new update coming soon from the Hurricane Center. Probably a lot lower than 120 at this point in time. But we are, still a very strong storm here. And... But yeah, last update we were sustaining 120 mile an hour winds here. Pressure, I believe, was down to 1 or 950. No, not 1. Was it 952? I think it was. Here, let's look. Pretty sure it was like 952. Give it a second for page to load. Yep. So 952 millibars, and the storm is moving to the northeast at 10 miles an hour. So it's definitely picked up quite a bit of speed since it was in Jamaica. As it was south of Jamaica, I mean, it stalled there for a minute. Let's see. Look how quickly the mountains ate the eye up. Hardly any eye. Yeah, it's crazy, right? These mountain ranges really, really disrupt that lower level flow in these storms here. Yeah, it absolutely causes them to just really deteriorate very quickly. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we have any radar out here. Maybe we have Bahama radar. Here, let me try looking at the Bahamas. Actually, I don't think Bahama radar would even reach here. Let me try Cuba. Let me see if I can find a Cuba radar real quickly. Hold on, I might have found something. Hold on a minute. What is this? Okay, so they got eastern, or they got western Cuba radar. Wait, are they stealing data from Miami or from Key West radar? Or is that actually Cuba? Huh. Well, they don't have it for the east side, sadly. Yeah, there is a lot of mountain ranges out there, which, mountains are not really the best friends for radars. Mountains and radars don't mix very well. Unless you put them on the top of the mountains, then let's see. Buckeye says, "Thank God it didn't stall over the land." Yeah, you ain't kidding, dude. If it would have done something like that, that would have been terrible. Would have been, a lot more catastrophic, because it would just continually dump more and more rainfall, and there would have been even more rainfall than what we saw, which is crazy that it could even get more than that. But then, yeah, more sturges, more, constant sustained winds and stuff like that. Yeah, but could have been a lot worse, unfortunately. But it was definitely kind of one of those worst case scenarios for Jamaica. But thankfully, at this point in time, like we mentioned, the system is now out. It is now currently out of Jamaica, in which the tropical storm the tropical storm conditions even are pretty much gone completely. Let's see here. Kate says Melissa stalled out at sea, didn't she? Yeah. Melissa did stall out for a little bit. As it was doing that northerly turn. Once that cold front started interacting with it, it stopped, because it was going westward and the cold front was going east. So it eventually kind of caused it to slow down completely before kind of taking it up to the northeast. But yeah, it definitely did. All right, so once again, everybody, right now, Melissa is still a powerful Category 3 hurricane, sustaining 120-mile-an-hour winds, central load down to 952 millibars, moving to the northeast at 10 miles an hour, in which we are still likely gusting about 130, 140 or so. So still, like I mentioned, a significant storm. Once again, we have Cat 3 and greater. That's considered, quote-unquote, major hurricane status. So it is still a major hurricane. What's up, Sonya? I don't know if I said hi or not. I'm losing my mind, y'all. Let's see. She wobbled right before landfall. So, yeah, it started pulling to the north a little bit just before landfall in Jamaica. That's right. But on the forecast track, y'all, like I mentioned, as we pull out of Cuba, which will be kind of the later morning tomorrow, or today, I should say at this point, we'll still... There's no way this thing's going to be Cat 3. I'm just now looking at the forecast for 8 a.m. It shows the system only lose 5 miles an hour between now and 8 a.m. There is no way. All right, hear me out. Hear me out, y'all. It's probably going to be right around Cat 1, Cat 2 once it pulls out of Cuba. I seriously don't believe that it's going to only lose 5 miles an hour between where it's at now and 8 a.m. You can see this shows in the forecast from the Hurricane Center 115. Right now it's at 120. And this is like 4 hours away from now? So they're telling us that in 4 hours, the system's only going to lose 5 mile an hour winds going over the mountains of Cuba. Yeah, I don't buy that, to be honest. I do think it'll be like Cat 1, maybe upper Cat 1, lower Cat 2. By the time it pulls out, I don't think it's going to be still Cat 3. So that'll be actually good. I mean, not for Cuba, but better for the Bahamas. It's crazy, though. So see. I was about to ask what speed she was now. It went from 3 to 7, I think. Yeah. So once it hit Jamaica, I think it was moving northeast at 7 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Sonia, you ain't kidding. Let's see, Buck says I agree with you. You know what? Yeah. Honestly, like I mentioned, there's no way it's losing just 5 miles an hour over the next 4 hours. They have it by this evening 105 sustained as it passes through the Bahamas. And then, of course, like I said, as we approach out by Bermuda, system will be possibly right around Cat 1 strength. We'll see what happens. I mean, they have it kind of upper Cat 1, kind of upper mid Cat 1 as we approach by Bermuda. But I think all of this is going to drop down just because I feel like Melissa is going to be a bit weaker than we think here. Let's see here. Andrew with 32K subs. Congrats, by the way. Yes, thank you guys so much for all the subscribers and stuff. It's greatly appreciated. You know, I love every single one of y'all. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for the support. It means the world to me. And I really love tracking the weather. I hate the circumstances that I have to track through and that the people have to go through. But, you know, like I mentioned, I'll always be here for you guys. You know, rain or shine, we always cover pretty much every day. I mean, you know, we have a couple off days now and then. But yeah, we basically do the weather regardless. You know, let y'all know what it's like in the States, and just do hangout streams too sometimes. So, absolutely. But I just want to say thank you guys seriously for all the support over the last several days. You guys have been just amazing. Let's see. Kate says just subscribe. Thank you. Sorry about the initial rant. No, you're good. You're good. I appreciate you for subscribing, though, Kate. That's greatly appreciated. All right, let's hop back up. We're actually going to look at something different now. So, hopping back to the rainfall forecast, y'all. So, you know, once again, one of the big concerns with Melissa is going to be flooding, just like how it kind of was for Cuba. Not as significant, but still. I mean, when we're talking 16 inches or more, remember, this is the rain that's still yet to come. This is the rain that's, you know, not counting the rain that's already fallen, you know. So, yeah, definitely a lot of rain out there. We're going to be seeing, in the red area, 12 to 16 inches, 3 to 400 millimeters out here. The orange, 8 to 12, 2 to 300 millimeters out there. But they did add this area here saying isolated amounts of 16 inches or more possible out there in southeastern Cuba. Sonia says, congrats on the subscribers. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. But honestly, you know, subscribing, it means a lot, and it ensures you guys are staying up to date. But, you know, it's not about the money. It's not about the subscribers or anything like that. Literally, like I said, I will never ask anybody for any donations or anything like that. It's only there because, I mean, it does help pay for the programs we use and stuff. But there's a lot of YouTubers that literally beg for donations, and I'm never going to do that. I'm not in it for the money. I literally just love weather and love helping people out. That's the entire reason we do this. So, but anyways, but like I said, I love every single one of y'all, and seriously, thank you everybody for the support that you have given us over the last couple of days, and just in general, just means a lot to me. Oh my gosh, Kate, thank you so much for becoming a tropical storm, my friend. I appreciate it. That is really, really nice of you. Thank you so much, Kate. You rock, my friend. Once again, definitely did not have to do that. It means a lot to me, though. I greatly appreciated. All right, so for the people who's just now joining, right now we are sustaining, let's see, 120 mile an hour winds here. We are gusting upwards of about 140 or so. And so definitely still quite a beast of a storm, you know, still is a major hurricane here. We are seeing, you know, at this point in time, some of the worst conditions for Cuba. They're getting a lot of that surges right now here. Let me bring back my pen real quickly. So basically we're getting a lot of that, you know, we're getting a lot of that water really flooding inland here. So we definitely got to look out for for that. You know, surges, like we mentioned, is going to be pretty much between like 7 to 12 feet or so from what we heard last, and definitely quite a bit. Oh my gosh, you guys, dude. Kate, thank you so much for gifting 5, and Buck, thank you for the 10, dude. Just an apology. Kate, you don't gotta apologize, seriously. Thank you so much, you guys. You all are awesome. Buck says, thanks for being here to cover Cuba. I got y'all. I'm here for you guys. Seriously, though, y'all, thank you so much. Huge shout out goes to you, Buck. Thank you so much. Also, huge shout out goes to you as well, Kate. You guys are amazing. And once again, y'all definitely do not have to do that. It is greatly appreciated. It means the world to me. And just want to say thank you y'all so much for the support. Let's see. Will Melissa impact the UK as a deep depression once it entered the North Atlantic? So let me actually pull back up the cone here. They do have it going out by the North Atlantic, but the uncertainty grows quite a bit by then. It's too early to tell right now. It is definitely a little bit too early to tell. But we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, we're going to be covering this for the next several days, so so we'll be here for you guys to keep up with it. Let's see here. Keegan says, thanks for the early morning coverage. No problem. Yeah, you guys are very welcome. All right, let's hop back here. So like I mentioned, y'all, we are now in the process of Landfall. Yeah, there's what's left of the eye right here. In that little yellow patch. Yeah, so that little yellow patch there, that's where the leftover of the eye is. It's not even an eye anymore, really. It's an eyelid at the moment. Did the eye regain structure after Jamaica? It tried to. There briefly, you can actually see. I'll go ahead and bring this back up here, y'all. So briefly it did. You can see just before landfall, you can see a little bit of clearing there, but it just didn't have enough time to, fully get that eye perfectly symmetrical. But it definitely tried. Alright, so let's see here. Alright, so once again, once we pull out of Cuba, which will be kind of the later morning this morning, they have right around 8 a.m. or so Eastern time. By the way, is there anybody in Eastern Cuba right now who's watching this, like in the storm right now? Like, genuinely curious. Is there anybody who's actually here right now that's watching from there? But anyways, yeah, later on in the morning, this is showing like 8 a.m. or so. This is when the system is getting ready to come off of Cuba's coast. But like I mentioned, the Hurricane Center, they have it only dropping 5-mile-an-hour winds between now and 4 hours from now. There is no way that it's still going to be a Cat 3 once it pulls out of Cuba. So more than likely, like I said, it'll probably be an upper Cat 1, maybe a lower Cat 2. Yeah, definitely not going to be anywhere near 115, I don't believe. But that's what the Hurricane Center has. Do we have a new update, actually? Here, let me pull this back up. Last update was at 310, so should have a new update hopefully here pretty soon. I was moving my mic, by the way, if y'all wonder what that noise was. Alright, let's hop back to rainfall. So, yeah, definitely got to watch out for for some of those rains out there, y'all. You know, given the terrain too, like we mentioned, you know, with these, why did my satellite freeze? Hold on, let's get that going again. There we go. Given the terrain out here, you know, a lot of mountains and valleys and such, you know, this is all this water is going to be falling and going down into the valleys here, which is definitely going to, you know, pond up a lot of water in those low-lying spots, which is very important to not be in those low-lying areas. And also, like, away from the coastal areas. It's kind of the best place to be. But yeah, like I said, some of the worst conditions now are actually the worst conditions for Cuba is ongoing at the moment. We'll go and hop on back here. Let's see. Kate says it was said that UK might get the tail end. Relief on track nation, we stand still. We'll see what happens with it. Still is quite a bit of disagreement. Or distance, I should say. Not necessarily disagreement, but still a little bit of distance between now and then. Let's see here. Steven says Melissa at the moment has a strength as the Great Storm of 87 that impacted the UK. Pressure is the same. Winds are of similar strength. Oh, that's interesting. Still is quite a beast, and you know, while yes, it's not as strong as it was in Jamaica. I mean, there's still definitely some quite significant impacts out there. Here, let me bring up some other sat views here. Here we go. We'll grab sandwich. Every time I bring up the sandwich mode, it makes me want a sandwich. Sea complex. Melissa's causing so much damage. 2 countries already. Just hope there isn't a huge toll on the people apart from the structural damage. Absolutely. You know, like I mentioned before too, it's like, you know, buildings can be rebuilt. You know, places can be, you know, rebuilt and stuff, but lives cannot. Unfortunately, it's like if you know, houses and buildings go, they can be rebuilt, but lives cannot be replaced, unfortunately. Garrett, we do not have any live cams. Yeah, it's dark and very rural. If there was, I would. Alright, let's hop on back over here, y'all. Alright, everybody. Actually, I'm gonna take about a 5-10 minute break here. Yeah, I'm gonna take a moment probably to decompress for a minute. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll think about it for a few minutes. Did I see a video of the Black River aftermath? I did not. Let's see. Thanks from the UK, Southeast Coast. Yeah, no problem. You guys are very welcome. All right. I'll think about doing a break. Not now, but I'm probably going to do one soon because I need to rest for a minute. Let's see if it's hitting the mountains in Cuba, and the people shouldn't be in low-lying areas. Where do they go? It's awful. Yeah, that's a really good question, Kate. You know, some of the best places to be, you know, in a scenario like this would be if you are in, if you're there, you honestly need to be in kind of higher elevation, away from the valleys, but far enough away from the coast too. And honestly, in a really sturdy structure like a concrete home or concrete building or something. So that's kind of the best conditions you'd have to be in. Honestly, it's dangerous regardless, you know, because then you got like landslide concerns by, you know, how much water that we're just getting. You know, sheer amounts of water that we're getting is just crazy. Let's see here. All right, let's go ahead and go back over some of this other stuff here, y'all. All right, so let's see. So this is the latest guidance here that we have. This is as of 2 a.m., so this is 2 hours ago. So the yellow indicates, that yellow blob. That is the estimated tropical storm force conditions out there. And of course, the hurricane force winds were just under that little white dot, so it's you can't really see them. But the red areas here, these are the hurricane warnings that's in effect out there for like eastern Cuba, central, southern Bahamas, as well as Haiti. We do have those tropical storm warnings in effect here. Same thing for Jamaica. They actually removed. They actually removed the hurricane warnings that were in effect, but we do have Bermuda now, which you can't really see. There you go. Yeah, Bermuda has those hurricane watches in effect there. But yeah, so those watches are in effect here. We'll probably see those eventually. Get that. Let's see here. How high of a chance is there for a tsunami with these storms? So tsunamis are not caused by weather. They're caused by earthquakes under the ocean. Yeah. That's more of geology than meteorology. See, Kate says, thank you so much for the coverage. You need to take breaks. It's mentally draining. Yeah, you're very welcome, my friend. I'm glad to be here with y'all. It certainly is, I tell you. It is quite draining. I mean, like I said, we put in 8 hours yesterday streaming. And then, of course, this stream has been going on for over 2 hours now. Yeah, it's just been bad. It's just been real busy. But like I said, honestly, I'm just happy to be here. Because if there's even a chance I could help save, anybody or help keep people prepared, it's more than worth it. Sean, yes, it is currently actually making landfall in in Cuba. It already made landfall in Jamaica, but yeah, you can see this is kind of where my cursor's at. That's where like the leftovers of the eye is. It's not even an eye anymore. It's like I said, I'm gonna call it an eyelid. It's a closed eyelid. Complex says the low pressure of the hurricane causes storm surge, which can be just as devastating. It's the winds kind of blow and push all that water inland, which creates that surges. Which, I mean, yeah. Still is a lot of water coming inland, but it's not like what normally people would think for a tsunami. A tsunami is typically just one wave, while storm surge is just like the rise of water and just big waves on top of it, multiple. So they're not very similar. But I kind of I get what you're going with that. All right, let's hop back over here, y'all. Go ahead and refresh the page so I can update its track. So, yeah, I mean, we're already inland at this point. Like I said, I mean, it's really picked up some speed. I mean, it's going a lot faster than it did just before, like Jamaica. But yeah, on the Hurricane Center's track, after we pull out of Cuba, it still has it being a Cat 3. Sustaining about 115, but like I mentioned, that's only 5 miles an hour lower than it is right now. Here, speaking of, let's check on the updates, see if we have any new updates on the system yet. We should have a new update here, hopefully soon. Nope, not yet. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're just going to wait till 5 or what. Last update was at 3 a.m. East, 3:10 a.m., which was an hour and 5 minutes ago. Where is Tropical Storm Sonia, and it could become a hurricane? So that's actually in the eastern Pacific, and that storm's actually about to become a remnant low. It's out here. Plus, it's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, It's getting ready to die. It is a low-end tropical storm right now. But yeah, that's also well away from areas of land, too. All right, let's bring up our rip currents here. So once again, everybody, we do have some concerns for rip currents here in Florida tomorrow. Not just Florida, but actually the southeastern United States coast here. You can see we have a lot of rip current concerns. The red areas is a high risk for rip currents. And of course, we do have the yellow, which this is that moderate risk here for rip currents and stuff like that. We also have Puerto Rico. I mean, they're U.S. territories, so these are only update for U.S. territories, sadly. I wish they would update for, like, the entire Caribbean, but they only forecast for, U.S. territories and such, which kind of sucks. But anyways, but yeah, Puerto Rico does have a little bit, too. I mean, definitely going to have some rip currents being a concern for pretty much a lot of the Caribbean at this point. I mean, it's definitely... quite likely. Composite shows over the next 2 days. Here you can see definitely quite a bit. I mean, even Florida's west coast here actually has some rip current concerns. Which, if y'all don't know what rip currents are, it's basically just a strong current of water. So say if you go out in the water, it's actually a strong current that pulls you out to sea. And if you get caught in a rip current, do not swim directly back to the coast. You got to swim parallel, slightly parallel to the coast. Because you'll just be, pulled right back out by the strong current. So it's best to swim parallel to the shore. Better yet, just don't go in the water. Honestly, it's not really the best of conditions right now. So yeah, here's the rainfall totals, everybody. So the red areas here, once again, this is that 12 to 16 inch margin here, which is that 300 to 400. 300 to 400 millimeters of rainfall. The orange there represents that 8 to 12 inch margin, 200 to 300 millimeters. So just want to let you guys know to, obviously watch out for big flooding concerns. And even the Bahamas, too, will be getting a lot of rain, even though there's a little bit lower confidence out there as to exactly how much we're going to be getting. All right, hopping back here. This is the wind history. So the areas here in the yellow, this is where the tropical storm force winds have been here. So you can see they've already went through Jamaica, bits of Haiti, obviously now Cuba, and then the red, of course, is the hurricane force. But yeah, this has not been updated in like 2 hours, I believe. What's up, Kim? Good to see ya. Saying, hey, Andrew, late night. Yeah, you're telling me, my friend. It's definitely been quite busy, per se. I'm going to be so happy when this storm is dead and I can finally take a day off. Honestly. Going to be real happy for that. A bit of a face reveal for some of the people. Every time I do that, it's got to be like a face reveal for like half of the people here. I just like to get my fat head out of the way every once in a while. Because if I do, you guys can see the satellite view a little bit better. But it's obviously good to have some type of face cam every once in a while. So there's the, let's see, that's the meso floater view. Yeah, meso floaters are nice because they give you like a lot of really good, they give you a really good amount of detail. Also frames, there's a lot more. So images are taken like every minute as opposed to like every 10 minutes with normal satellite view. So it's a lot more frequent, which is a lot better. That's crazy, Kim. 11 hours, sheesh. Honestly, I don't think people realize how hard it is to stream for this amount of time. And, constantly talking about the storm, repeating yourself. It's mentally and even physically draining, believe it or not. It's pretty crazy. But like I said, it's more than worth it. I am more than happy to be here with you guys. I love helping you guys out and being here with y'all. Thank you, and Choose from Tampa, says Rat Trap. No problem, dude. right back at you. Actually, you're not far from me, dude. I'm here in the Lakeland area. You know, you're pretty close, fellow Floridian. But you guys are very, very welcome. All right, let's hop back here. All right, let's get rid of my fat head for a minute. So, looking over here at the future casts. So, like I mentioned, right now, as of the latest update here from the Hurricane Center, we are sustaining 120 mile an hour winds, right? So we're at a Category 3. So here's the thing. By 8 a.m., so in about 3.5 hours roughly, let's see here. We are seeing the system only lose 5 miles an hour from the Hurricane Center. I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I personally think the storm's going to be a lot weaker by the time it comes through, or not Jamaica. I keep saying Jamaica. I've talked about Jamaica so much. But anyways, but yeah, in terms of 8 a.m. tomorrow, or today I should say, we lose about 5 mile an hour winds, which that's the hurricane forecast, but we'll probably likely, I'd say, be more in either upper level Cat 1, lower Cat 2. So, see, I need a week vacation. I'm not sure where you go, though. That's true. Honestly, as long as it's a place with a pool, I'd be happy. But unfortunately, it's been getting pretty cold, even down here in Florida. It's supposed to get down to 48 here on, I think, Friday here in Central Florida. I am not going to live. I used to be able to handle that like it was nothing, but I can't anymore. Let's see. Sometimes y'all save lives, to be honest. You know, that's the goal, man. That is 100% the goal. We just want to help everybody out. I might be one person. I might be, one streamer. But, like I said, I'm dedicated to help out as many people as I can. Let's see. We used to have so much, we have so much better coverage in tornadoes in the United States thanks to weather streamers. Yeah, I agree. I really do appreciate my other fellow weather streamers as well. They definitely help as well keep everybody informed, which I greatly appreciate. A lot of people, I'm not mentioning names, like it, or they don't like other streamers because they're competition. But me, honestly, I see it as a different perspective. As like it's good because that means more people are, being weather aware. So it doesn't matter to me. I mean, if it's the more people, the better. For anybody. As a collective of everybody streaming and getting that word out there, it's very important. Let's see. You're in Northwest England. Oh, I got you. See, it's 43 degrees there right now. Where? Oh, here. I was going to say, hey, 43 here. Yeah, even though it feels like it right now, it's not 43. That's cold, though. Like, I grew up in Virginia. I lived in Virginia, like, most of my life. And then I lived in Kentucky for 2 years. And then I lived here in Florida for over 2 years now at this point. I've been here the last 3 winters, though. I'm so acclimated to warmer weather now. It's 50s, 60s, 70s even can be cold to me, which is crazy. 70s are pretty nice, but yes, once you get in like 60s and stuff, it's cold for me. Anyways, enough of that. But yeah, so talking about the hurricane, I'm sure people didn't want to join just to hear me rant about how cold temperatures are. But yeah, let me actually bring this back up for you guys. Here, we'll swap back. Let me get rid of my funky head for a minute. So hopping back to rainfall totals, y'all. Once again, that's one of the biggest concerns for just Melissa in general. For Cuba, the way it was for Jamaica, it's just the sheer volume of water, that we're seeing here. 43 freedom units. I love that. But anyways, but yeah, rainfall is going to be one of the biggest concerns. 12 to 16 inches, 300 to 400 millimeters of rainfall. of course, we do have this big orange area too, 8 to 12 inches overall. Let's see. V. Jacob says, greetings from Poland. Hello, my friend. Good to see ya. Quite a ways away, man. But it's good to see you, Jacobs. Hope you're doing good, dude. Let's see. Do we have any live cameras? I wish we did, but we don't because it's pretty rural out there, for one. I mean, there's not a lot of cameras available. Two, it's nighttime. You wouldn't be able to really see anything, sadly. The best that we got here is just what's going on now with the sat view and observations and stuff. Let's see, 43 Fahrenheit, 6 Celsius. Ooh, yeah. I mean, Celsius, if you think about it, makes more sense. Because, like, 0 Celsius, that's freezing, and then 100 Celsius, that's boiling point. Like, and then you got 212 for boiling Fahrenheit, or freedom units. And then you got, what is it, 32 for freezing. So it's, yeah, it makes more sense for Celsius, but that's why I've been kind of learning both. All right, let's bring back up our current warnings and stuff. So once again, we got to watch out for also Bermuda too. Right now, Bermuda has hurricane watches in effect out there. We do have hurricane warnings in effect for the central southern Bahamas. Tropical storm warnings in effect still for Haiti in the blue. So the blue is the tropical storm warnings. The red is the hurricane warnings, and the pink is the hurricane watches in effect here. So we do have tropical storm watches in effect still for Jamaica. Those are honestly probably going to be canceled fairly soon. Just given the way that the wind field is pulling away from Jamaica, so their conditions have drastically improved. Tropical storm warnings in effect for Jamaica, still for Haiti. That is there. And, of course, once again, the red, those hurricane warnings. Let's see here. David says it ain't going to hit Aruba, is it? Going to cruise down there next month. No. Aruba is north of Venezuela, right? No, this was just north of there. Let's see here. Yeah, I wish we had cameras, but like I mentioned, there's really not. The only cameras, we do have cameras here. Let me bring y'all back over here. We do, but they're in Jamaica. Not really useful. Actually, we barely even have any left in Jamaica. There's only a couple. Here you go. All right, look how calm the water is now in the Kingston Harbor. Yeah, look at it. We were actually looking at that during what was it? During the Jamaica landfall. And it was completely white capped and all that. Yeah, Kingston appears to still have a lot of power from what it looks like. At least the big buildings and stuff. There could be generators, I don't know. But yeah, definitely we got quite a bit of improvements that have occurred out there. It's a lot better than it was. Let's see here. Kim says, so it left Jamaica, now it's in Cuba. Yeah. So Jamaica at this point is good for the most part. You can see the system. So here's Jamaica. System is now north of Jamaica, but now it's worse conditions for Cuba. We've actually covered this since before it made landfall. It's already halfway through Cuba almost. That's how fast it's moving. It's it's picked up some speed. So it'll be here for probably another 3-4 hours over Cuba. Well, the center, anyways. Let's see here. Calm after the storm. Yeah, pretty much. Usually it's calm before the storm, but in this case, yeah, calm after the storm, I guess. All right, let me... Actually, I'm going to take a look at the GLM flashes. Do we have any lightning activity? You know what I noticed? We did have quite a bit. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. So we did have quite a bit of lightning activity here. Just before landfall towards the eye. So that was telling us that the storm was actually trying to strengthen again by the time. This storm is just crazy. Let's see here. Kate says, please hit the thumbs up, lovely people. I appreciate that, Kate. Like I said, I love everybody here. You guys are awesome. Every single one of you I care about very deeply. You guys are amazing. I don't care what everybody says. I have the best weather community on YouTube. You know, the best people. I'm really thankful for you guys. All right, let's hop back to the rain totals for everybody. So, yeah, quite a bit of rain. And you got to remember too, you know, with all the surges and stuff we're getting, you know, on top of the rainfall too, they're just going to get so much rain down there. At this time, at this point in time, the surges are probably peaked. You know, at Cuba, considering that the eye has already crossed into. Well, they've definitely already peaked. Still likely a lot of water pulling in right now. I really hope that everybody got out of the way in time. What's up, Disco from Sweden? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Man, we got people all over the place. That's awesome. Lana. Oh my gosh, dude. Lana says, Kate, ? Please hit the lovely people. It's the thumbs up. Come on. That's funny, though. I don't know why that made me laugh. All right, let's hop on back here, y'all. We're going to take a look back at the wind field. So, I'm going to zoom in a bit so you guys can see this a little better, hopefully. So, here you go. So, the yellow blob here, so that is the tropical storm force wind. So, that's where we have those sustained winds of 39 to 74 miles an hour. So that's where the tropical storm force conditions are within the estimated tropical storm force. But I will mention this. This is actually out of date out of time by about like 2 hours or so. The center is more like right in here. So this has moved up a bit. So we're likely starting to get some of those tropical storm conditions out there by some of the southern Bahamas here. But anyways, yeah. So hurricane conditions are definitely already inland into Cuba. Kate, I don't condone violence. That's funny. But anyways, yeah, that's that. So we'll give you guys more updates when that comes through. But you know, in terms of rainfall and such, you know, once again, Cuba, you guys are going to get a lot of rainfall. So for the eastern sides of Cuba, you know, once again, we're seeing isolated amounts of 16 inches or more. Now, you guys have got to remember, this is not what has already fallen to. You know, this is an addition to what we've seen. Here, we'll zoom back out so you guys can see everything. So there you go. So that's the red is that 12 to 16 inch margin, 3 to 400 millimeters. The orange shade here, 8 to 12. The darker yellow, 6 to 8. Lighter yellow, 4 to 6. You know, dark green, 2 to 4, and the light green, 1 to 2. So definitely a lot of rain. And then once again, we do have this lower confidence bracket for some of the Bahamas here that will you know, definitely need to continue monitoring because it's a little bit more uncertain exactly how much rainfall we could get out there. But so we'll definitely keep an eye on it. All right, let me hop back here. Actually, when are we going to get the updates on the system here? Let's see. Yeah, last update was at 3:10 a.m. Eastern, so yeah, we're not going to get a 4 o'clock update. We'll likely get an update at 5. So pretty soon, actually. We'll be getting an update fairly soon. But the last update that we do have had the storm sustaining 120. Let's see. Aurora says, just came on making my coffee when you said you were also in Florida and used to the weather. I've been here since 2016. I freeze under 65. Honestly, yeah, I can relate to that completely. See, so will this head towards the U.S. or go off out to sea? So this is not going to be a problem for the United States here at all. Other than maybe some rip currents, along the east coast of the U.S., but you can see the cone. This is far away from the United States, but this is a really big problem for Cuba right now, which is what we're doing the coverage at right now, because they're going to be getting all kinds of threats, surges, flooding, extreme winds, all kinds of impacts out there. And then, of course, after that, then it's going to go through the central southern Bahamas here. Then, of course, it'll be going through or right next to Bermuda. Like I said, we're going to have to watch and see what happens with Bermuda because, whenever it comes to it here, the cone is mostly west of Bermuda. So more than likely, the system will go west of Bermuda at this point. But, Bermuda is still in the cone of uncertainty. So, in theory, the center could go even out there by Bermuda. But by the time we get out there, models are suggesting that the storm will likely be possibly like Category 1. I honestly think it could be probably either low-end Cat 1 or upper tropical storm at the point that it gets near Bermuda. We'll have to see. Like I mentioned, a lot of it has to deal with, what kind of condition that Melissa will be in after it pulls out of Cuba. Because once again, on this forecast track from the Hurricane Center, remember, right now it's 120 sustained as of the last update. You can see here at 8 a.m., so 3.5 hours, they have it at 115 miles an hour. That's only a 5-mile-an-hour drop going over Cuba's mountainous terrain, which I don't buy. Will likely be a lower Cat 2, upper Cat 1, I believe, whenever the system does pull off. So, let's see here. I live in Alberta. My son is in Cuba visiting his wife. Thank goodness he's on the other side of Cuba. Well, that's good. That's good. Let's see here. Is this the biggest storm to date or pretty average? So, for Jamaica, this was the strongest storm to have ever hit Jamaica on record. Yeah, this storm was terrible. It was actually, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like one of the strongest landfalls in the Atlantic Basin of all time. I want to say it was like top 3. I forgot what list it was, but yeah, definitely significant. Let's see here. Kate says, I need to go. Thank you so much. Those in Cuba sending love. Good to see you, Kate. Thank you once again for your support and everything. It's good to have you here. And thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Take care. But yeah, no, it was definitely the worst. Definitely the worst for Jamaica of all time. All right, let's bring you guys over here for a moment. I feel like a broken record. I literally just because I keep hopping back and forth between all these different graphics. It's like, hey, I haven't seen that before. Nah, but I got to keep updating everybody. The new people who keep going in and out, it's like new people join and stuff. But here's the latest data. So the yellow, this is the tropical storm blob. This is where the estimated tropical storm force winds are at here in the yellow. But also remember, this is 2 hours ago, so it's not fully up to date. The center is more like right here, where the tip of my cursor is at. That's kind of where it's at right there. So whenever it comes to it, the system is just going to keep on going northeast. But yeah, the red is those hurricane warnings in effect here for portions of the Bahamas, central southern Bahamas, and eastern Cuba. And the blue is the tropical storm warnings in effect here. So we still have Jamaica, but those are probably going to be canceled soon. Honestly, at this point in time, it's likely that all those tropical storm conditions are already out of Jamaica. We got Western Haiti here, still in the tropical storm conditions overall. So, yeah, definitely still a little bit of heavy impacts out there. But then, of course, you have Bermuda here, too. You guys can see in the little pink area. So that's actually hurricane watches in effect because, like we mentioned, looking back at the cone over here, we get pretty close to Bermuda. We definitely do get pretty darn close to Bermuda here, in which we'll have to see just how close it gets. I mean, if it goes far to the west, there's a chance that hurricane warnings won't be needed, and maybe tropical storm conditions. It just depends on the wind field and stuff. But yeah, it just comes down to how close that core gets to Bermuda there. So we'll have to see. Let's see. I pray for all the Jamaicans out there. Absolutely. Yeah. Also the Cubans too. Can't forget about Cuba. Also the Bahamas too. Yeah. A lot of people, like I mentioned, during the time of when Jamaica was getting hit, forgot that Cuba is still going to get a real significant hit on the storm here. Still some big impacts even out there by like Jamaica, or sorry, well, first Jamaica, then Cuba, then the Bahamas here, and of course we have, Bermuda, kind of a big question mark right now, but yeah, absolutely. Anyways, here is the Drewster. Like I said, I'm going to be hopping back and forth sometimes between the face cam and having this view because, yeah, it's definitely it takes up a bit of room. In my opinion, it's pretty nice having the full sat view. But anyways, here's the current sat view. You can see all those little plus signs. Those are all lightning strikes. We still apparently do have some lightning towards the center of the storm, which is very interesting considering it's over land. Let's see here. Buckeye says, "Have a great day, y'all. Much love." Thanks again, Andrew. No problem, dude. Take care. I appreciate you for joining. Here, let me try True Color. We don't have True Color right now. Let's try lower level water vapor scan. Like I said, with this system, there's just been so much moisture. Like, it's actually been pretty crazy just how much. You can see out west we do have a little bit of orange and yellow, which is showing us, a bit of dry air and all. But, especially the eastern side of the storm here, I mean, it's been super saturated. There's a lot of water vapor out here. I mean, that system is just really bringing in the moisture. For people who know meteorology pretty well, I'm not going to really explain this too much, but there's something in meteorology called PWatt, or precipitable water. So whenever you see PWatt values under an inch, it means typically conditions are pretty dry. 1 inch, you could get some rain and stuff like that. Usually 1 to like 2 inches. But the crazy thing is we had 3-inch PWatt on some of the or a big chunk of the eastern side of Melissa before it hit Jamaica. Just putting it out there, that is a lot of moisture. That is a lot of moisture. The storm was just flooding with moisture. And I honestly really think the extreme amount of moisture that we had from the system is what really allowed the system to really crank up in intensity just before landfall. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of wind shear either. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of winds that was kind of, pushing against the storm or anything, disrupting its structure or anything like that. But it's, it was kind of in a really good environment here, for that development. But anyways. But yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely crazy of a storm here. All right, we should hopefully get an update here from the Hurricane Center here soon. This has not updated yet either. Let's see here. Here's the, I don't know if you guys can see this. It's not letting me show y'all. There we go. Yeah, so this was the previous forecast path here. You guys could see, once it hits, Jamaica. And then, like I said, we briefly went from Category 4 as the system pulled off of Jamaica down to Category 3. Then we went back up to Category 4 again, and then we went to Category 3, and that's kind of where we're at right now. And then the only thing is that the forecast here from the Hurricane Center, they have the thing only losing 5-mile-an-hour winds between now and 4 a.m. Or, sorry, 8 a.m. The thing made landfall at 120 sustained. We're likely a lot lower now, which is, kind of crazy, though, because I do believe it's going to be a lot lower. It'll be a lot more weaker by the time that it pulls off. But yeah, definitely pretty wild, man. All right, hopping back here. So if I was to go ahead and play this in motion, y'all could see kind of where the center is. It's right in here. There is no more eye. It has been completely demolished at this point in time. Which, yeah, I mean, the eye here is about, or the center is about almost halfway through Jamaica. Or I keep calling Cuba Jamaica now. It's about almost halfway through Cuba at this point in time. Some of the heaviest effects have been ongoing, have already been kind of felt here. Storm is not really liking the terrain too much, which they really don't. Because like we mentioned beforehand, you got the, these systems are really well developed on the surface. You got a really good structure on the surface of the storm. And it's like whenever it goes inland over over this mountainous terrain, it really disrupts the flow. The even distribution, the even flow of the winds, which just causes the system to completely go off balance and weaken quite a bit. But also it's because, it's not absorbing as much heat either. Whenever you take that latent heat away from the storm here, it pretty much just starts to weaken quite a bit. So it's really like two things that's killing the storm right now. And there for that moment there, once it rolled into this body of water between Cuba, or it's part of the Caribbean, but between Cuba and or between Jamaica and Cuba, it's it did strengthen a little bit. Honestly, Mr. B, I have no idea where that's at. Let's see here. Beautiful red and dark red colors, even though crazy storm. Yeah, it's still showing some pretty deep convection. So, definitely still convecting pretty heavily. I mean, for being over land and stuff, we do have quite a bit of lightning activity still going on. You can see in the left panel, up in that northern eye wall there, or where the eye wall is. It's not really much of an eye anymore, but yeah, definitely still got some lightning going on, which is crazy. Yeah, lightning's not very common in hurricanes. They're mostly very warm systems. I mean, they're very warm both on surface and upper levels as compared to like normal thunderstorms and stuff. So, I mean, you really don't have a super crazy amount of lightning activity typically in hurricanes, unless you're like undergoing a lot of rapid strengthening, which increases a lot of vertical wind shear towards the center of the storm, which allows for more ice crystal formation in the upper atmosphere, higher tops and all kinds of stuff. Anyways, enough nerding around. But it's definitely not very common, though, that you do see that. Especially over land, too. I mean, shoot, that's pretty crazy. But anyways, everybody, if y'all have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'll be more than happy to help you guys out. Like I said, we're here for y'all. We'll keep you guys posted with everything. Oh, it actually looks like that one storm became that one tropical storm. Was it Sonia? I think it was. What was it? Hold on. We have Melissa. It was, Sonia. Yeah, it's now a post-tropical cyclone, which we'll take a minute to hop over to real quickly. It was this little guy. Let me switch to goes west. Oh my gosh, there's literally like no convection on it right now. That is crazy, though. Let's see, what about mesoscale? Oh, okay. These are not for the storm. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty crazy. All right, hopefully soon we'll have a new update from the Hurricane Center. Shouldn't be too much longer. So we'll be having that here soon. Here, let me hop us back over here. So we'll line that up there for you guys as well. Anyways, let's see. Hurricane Center. So, yeah, last update was at... Oh, there we go, 5 a.m. Yeah, look, it's already down to 115 sustained. So pressure's at 960 millibars, moving northeast at 12 miles an hour. And maximum sustained winds is at 115 miles per hour. So what is that now? Was that Cat 2? Cat 3? Let me bring up the Saffir-Simpson scale. Pretty sure might be kind of lower Cat 3. Let's see. All right. Oh, yep. So it is low in Cat 3. Well, so once it goes sub 110, it'll become a Category 2. Yeah, so it's not far off, honestly. Megan says this will go up to coast area after and maybe bring some bad weather for Nova Scotia this weekend. So the cone, go ahead and zoom out here. The cone actually has the system being pretty far away from Nova Scotia, so you guys are going to be all right out there. Let's see here. Sorry, my English. Does Cuba often have hurricanes? When was the last time they had a Cat 4 or 3? Good question. So Cuba does get them quite often. I'm not exactly sure what storm was last for Cuba, but it is pretty common for Cuba to get hurricanes. Absolutely. I mean, being in the Caribbean, these Caribbean islands are definitely vulnerable to these systems. You know, it's just a part of being in the area. Let's see here. Megan says, good, it moved over. Yep, it did. It's not going to be a big concern for you guys out there. It might could come a little closer to Newfoundland, but we'll see what happens, though. Like I said, we'll be here for the ride. We'll keep you guys up to date. My little thing hasn't updated yet. So yeah, we just got the new data coming through. Like I said, y'all, we are down to 115 sustained, which that puts it in kind of lower in Cat 2. Or sorry, lower in Cat 3. James says that storm is a rare beast. So sad for those folks. Praying for all affected have suffered great loss, and those being affected now, God bless. Absolutely, James, for sure. It was definitely a beast, and it just seemed to keep getting worse and worse. You know, it was terrible. Let's see here. Walker says, hello, everyone, watching from Southern Illinois. Stay safe and be prepared. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Here, let me bring y'all back over here. Let's see. This hasn't updated yet. But yeah, this once again is not going to be a concern for anywhere in the U.S. East Coast. I know there was a lot of people who was wondering if the system would, eventually be a problem for the United States, but no, we shall be good. But I hope you're doing good, Walker. Thanks for joining, man. All right, let's go over some of this stuff again with you guys here, y'all. We're gonna hop back to some of these graphics here. So we're gonna start off with the flooding concern. We're gonna get a lot of rain out of the system here. Once again, that's kind of one of the biggest concerns. With Melissa, not just for Jamaica, but also for Cuba as well. One of the biggest... I'm going to turn off this light. One of the biggest concerns was just the sheer volume of water and how much rain and surges and stuff like that we're going to be getting out there. One of the biggest problems here, you can see there in the red, we have a zone of about 12 to 16 12 to 16 inches, 3 to 400 millimeters. Kudo says, out of curiosity, is there a chance that the hurricane could gain on strength again after leaving Cuba? It's not expected because the storm is going to start encountering a bit of wind shear. It's not generally expected to really re-strengthen after the point now. Thankfully. Yeah, so on the current cone here, so they actually didn't update this yet, but we are expecting to be kind of a Category 2 storm. So right now we're at Cat 3. We're going to be a Cat 2 as the storm kind of passes over the central and southern Bahamas here. We are just expecting gradual weakening of the storm from there on out. And then, of course, it'll go into cooler waters and stuff. They actually just updated it. Bermuda is now out of the cone. However, remember, the cone is not where the effects are going to be felt, but where the center of the storm could go, essentially. So, but there still could be some impacts out there in Bermuda, in which we still absolutely need to watch for. It's just becoming a little bit less likely for like hurricane conditions here, but system is still going to be quite strong, though. Even as it goes up into the north here, once it becomes post-tropical. Yeah. Kudo says thank you. Yeah, no problem. You're very welcome. Like I said, we care about you guys. We want to make sure y'all are up to date. So please, if any of you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. We are more than happy to answer them for you guys. All right, so here is the, once again, this is the latest information we have. Actually, they finally updated this, which is nice. But you can see where the hurricane force winds are at right now over eastern Cuba there. That little red circle, maybe I can zoom in a little bit more, show you guys. There you go. So you can see right there, that little red circle. So that's where the hurricane force winds are estimated to be right now. Then we have the yellow blob. That is where the... those tropical storm force, winds are currently estimated to be. So at this point in time, Jamaica's in the clear. The system is already rolled through. No longer any tropical storm force conditions. They do still have those tropical storm warnings in effect. Eventually, those will be expiring here in a little bit. We also do have Haiti, which you can barely see here. Let me move this over just a tad. Haiti has those tropical storm warnings in effect there too. Also the Kirks and Caicos out there. I believe that's where that's at. So we also have the central southern Bahamas here in the red. So these are hurricane warnings here. Hurricane warnings also for eastern Cuba, of course. The Bahamas and so on. But and then of course we do have Bermuda up there. Which you can see Bermuda is there in the pink lemonade area. In which we are seeing, that's where the hurricane watches are at in effect here. So hurricane watches for Bermuda. Like I said, we'll watch. It just, it depends on how close that system does ultimately get out there. What's up, Cindy? Good to see ya. Saying hello from Loveland, Ohio. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. When can we know that the rain from higher elevations of Jamaica has all come down and won't cause see days upon days of flooding like Tennessee last year? Well, I mean, you'll know a lot of it is over with whenever it stops flowing. Essentially, I don't know to that exact answer or the exact amount of time, to be honest with you, but yeah. The rain is going to last for a while, and the flooding threat will last for quite a bit as well. It's definitely going to be persistent for quite a while. I mean, whenever you have such a high volume of water fall, it's going to take some time for all that water to eventually clear out. But yeah, it's going to take a bit of time. Obviously, it just depends on a lot of factors like how much rainfall has fallen, altitudes, rainfall rates, all kinds of stuff. But anyways, but yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye out there for those areas here too. Let's see. So this is the latest WPC update once again, y'all. So we do have still, like I said, isolated amounts of 16 inches or more out here for southeastern Cuba. Out here in the Bahamas too, we are going to be seeing quite a bit of rainfall out here as well. But like I mentioned, still kind of in more of a lower confidence zone here from the WPC. So we'll keep you guys updated. Like I said, we've already done coverage on Jamaica. We are doing coverage now in Cuba, and then of course from this point forward, we're going to be doing some coverage for the Bahamas as well. The central southern Bahamas. We're going to need to do some coverage out there as well for you guys. And then, of course, Bermuda will probably maybe need some coverage. It just depends, how significant it becomes out there. Because it seems like the cone was shifting a little bit further west here of Bermuda, keeping possibly that hurricane core away from Bermuda. Like I said, it's not guaranteed at this point. It's still kind of unknown, but yeah, we'll have to see for sure. By the way, everybody, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. I really haven't asked that too much, but if you guys could just consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free. Just hit that button. It'll keep you guys up to date with everything. It would be greatly appreciated. We're almost at 32,300 subs. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed. It means the world to me, so thank you guys, seriously. You all are amazing, and I love every single one of you guys, so thank you all for your continued support. You guys are the best here. So moving on over here to, this is actually the history of both the tropical storm force and those hurricane conditions. Here, I'm going to actually get you all a better satellite view here. So, the yellow there, that's where the, those tropical storm conditions have occurred, essentially, which you can see we do have quite a bit of areas there, like Jamaica, Cuba, in which that's going to continue to go to the northeast. And, of course, you got the red areas. That's where the hurricane force ones. They actually finally updated this as well, since we have the 5 o'clock update that just came through. As you guys can see on the sat view, the eye is completely gone at this point. There is no more evidence of the eye. Also, the lightning activity has seemed to stop quite a bit. So the storm is not doing very good. It is kind of upset right now. But yeah, like I said, the hurricane force winds you can see here in the red, which, currently right now they are right over eastern Cuba, which we're about halfway through Cuba at this point. Or the center is about halfway through, Cuba overall. So, anyways, let's see here. Julie says, thank you. Yeah, no problem. You are very, very welcome, my friend. I am glad to help you all out. Here, let me move this down a little bit. But yeah, I'm losing my... I've been losing my mind for the last couple of days with all this coverage, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. It's been frying my brain and my my speech. But But you guys are very welcome. Like I said, I'm glad to help you guys out. So, like I mentioned, I mean, if y'all have any questions, anything like that, please don't ever hesitate to ask. I'm here for you guys. We want to keep you guys up to date and whether aware. What's up, Doghouse? Good to see ya. Hope you're doing well, my friend. But yeah, I mean, looking at the sat view, I mean, at this point in time, it's weird. My AC unit just cut out. At this point in time, you guys can see that the eye, like we mentioned, is just no longer even visible anymore. If we take a look here, we also did have quite a bit of lightning activity. That's actually what those little plus signs were. That's where we got some lightning activity. But, like we were talking about before, whenever you have a lot of lightning activity in the core like that, right around the eye wall and such, it means that the storm is either A, really sustaining itself pretty well, or B, strengthening. And before we hit before we hit Jamaica, it was actually, really starting to strengthen. I don't know if a lot of you guys saw that. If you guys were here in our other coverage when we were covering Jamaica, there was literally like a perfect ring of lightning from that storm, which was one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen in the tropics. I mean, it was wild to be able to see that. But anyways, so hopping back over this way. So yeah, in the forecast track, from here on out, the system will be out of Cuba here within the next 4 hours or so. And, then it'll be rolling its way out there towards the Bahamas, towards like the central southern Bahamas here too. And it's going to be impacting the Bahamas as, likely a Category 2 overall. So we'll likely be having Category 2 strength as we do go over there towards the Bahamas. Then, of course, eventually it's going to reach some cooler waters and it'll weaken a bit. And then, of course, we're going to get out there by Bermuda, which, once again, now Bermuda's outside of the cone of uncertainty. But, once again, that's not where the effects are felt, by the way. That's just where the center of the storm could end up. So at this point in time, it seems unlikely that the core of the storm will be going over Bermuda. I mean, it could still get pretty close, given that the edge of the cone is, literally still right next to Bermuda. So, we'll have to see what happens and such. But, we'll definitely keep an eye out there for that. But yeah, there's still likely going to be some pretty heavy impacts. Big waves and all kinds of stuff like that. So, the new cone actually has this thing getting pretty close to Newfoundland here. At this time time overall, we'll still likely be a pretty strong tropical storm here. As we get near Newfoundland, so that might be actually something to look out for here as well. Let's see here. I think Melissa is peeved because by the time she gets to our waters, the name will be changed to Colin or Charlie. Really? Do you guys have like your own names for these storms, I guess? Huh. That's interesting. Any chance that this can strengthen after the Bahama Islands? It's not really expected, no. And the reason is, here, I'm going to show you guys the models and such. Whoa, that's bright. Oh my goodness. That is really bright. Let me show you why. Let's hop back to the over here. So here's GFS. We'll do wind shear. So y'all see this red? So this is all wind shear. So this is just strong winds throughout different levels of the atmosphere. And the one thing that hurricanes hate is a lot of wind shear, because winds like this push against the storm and they disrupt the storm structure. So as we progress our way down in time and as the system does go out there, you can see that it's going to really start rubbing up against a lot of those strong winds, meaning it's going to be encountering quite a bit of wind shear. Not to mention, it'll also be kind of going in the cooler waters once we kind of pass the Bahamas here. Because you can see where that 26 degrees Celsius margin where the yellow starts, that's like bottom line. The warmth that you need for tropical sustainability and, strengthening to occur. It's not solely just based off of sea surface temperatures, but it's also based off of, other things like moisture and that wind shear we were talking about. But the waters out by the Bahamas are definitely still warm enough for that if other conditions are met. But no, I think it's going to probably encounter quite a bit of wind shear, which is going to really probably prevent the system from rapidly strengthening or being able to really strengthen again overall. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, we're just not really expecting the system to strengthen or really anything like that. So yeah, we should be fine. It'll still be quite a strong storm, though. Even as it goes through the Bahamas. It's still supposed to be Category 2 storm. Even a Cat 1 is still pretty strong. Obviously it's not as strong as like a Cat 5 or a Cat 2, 3, or 4, but they're still very strong. A hurricane in general is strong. Tropical storms can even be really powerful. So, let's see, the Met Office changes the names. I think it's better. We're North Atlantic, not any tropical weather up here wind-wise. That's true. That is true. Yeah, it's usually really cool up there. The waters are too cool, in which it's just subtropical. Absolutely. But I tell you what, though, you guys can get some pretty heavy cyclones, though. Mostly from like the Arctic Circle. There can be quite a bit of nasty frontal systems. I've seen it happen quite a bit. I see Doghouse says, nice info. Thanks, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. But anyways, so like I mentioned, we'll definitely keep an eye on it as it continues to go through these areas. So here's the rainfall totals. We are seeing a lot of rain once again. The red areas here, we're talking 12 to 16 inches or 300 to 400 millimeters of rain. They did mention that, they're in this area by Cuba. We do have a potential of seeing isolated amounts of 16 inches or more, which is a lot. Definitely a lot. Kim says Humberto and Emildo was changed to ex-tropical storms. Amy, she blew rooftops off and millibars went down to 941. Wow. Yeah, 941 millibars is very strong for sure. Yeah, whenever I know I bring up Milton all the time, but it's really like the only storm the only big hurricane that I've been. I've been in a couple tropical storms and stuff like that, but Milton was like the first hurricane that I've been through, like big hurricane. And whenever it hit me, I had some weather stations deployed. I have a Mesonet. If you guys know what that is, it's a scientific grade weather station, with really good accuracy. So actually, I have one. I actually invested in. I bought one and had a buddy of mine up in St. Louis build it for me, and because I'm not good with wiring these things up, but he built one for me. And whenever I deployed it in Milton, we had that pressure drop down to 971 millibars, which that was station pressure, which is different from sea level pressure. Station pressure is a direct pressure reading from the station itself. Sea level pressure is calculated based off of altitude as to what it would be at sea level. Does that make sense? So, for calibration, it's, good for sea level pressure, which sea level pressure at that point was, I think it was 974, if I'm not mistaken. Station was 971. Because I'm in Florida. We're pretty close to the ocean anyways, which is, already pretty close to sea level. Anyways, enough of the nerd talk. I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably like, oh, come on, dude. Let's see. Kim says, Andrew is giving me so much great information compared to local/national weather. Well, thank you, Kim. I appreciate it. Like I mentioned, if you guys ever have any questions, please don't ever hesitate to ask here. We are always going to be here to help you guys out. We'll always be here to support you guys and just keep you guys weather aware. Disaster or not, we'll be here for you. Like I said, we do a lot of live streams regardless. We're always here giving you guys updates. Even if it's just nice and sunny, we're just glad to keep you guys in the loop. And I really enjoy these streams also. Just hanging out with you guys and just talking. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun, and I really appreciate every single one of you guys for always hanging out with us and sticking by. All right, so let's hop back here. We'll look at the latest cone. So yeah, the cone is quite large now. Goodness, yeah, quite large now. That's because the system's going to really start picking up some speed. How fast is it moving? It's moving northeast at 12 miles an hour. So I mean, it's moving pretty decent right now. As compared to earlier when it was stalling down there south of Jamaica. I mean, it got down to, I think the lowest I saw it was 2 miles an hour. Wouldn't be surprised if it was actually slower at some points, but you literally could have walked faster than the system was moving. I mean, you could run if you sprint as fast as you could. I am sure that you could probably be running about as fast as it's going right now. It was moving very slow there for a while. I mean, you could just walk before it hit Jamaica. You could just walk faster than the storm was moving, which was crazy. But now, 12 miles an hour. I mean, that's pretty fast. I mean, that's a pretty good run essentially. Anyways, but yeah, so there's the cone. The timing you guys can see here. So it'll be out there by Bermuda pretty much by the morning of Friday. So that'll be Halloween. So we'll be having a spooky system going out there towards Bermuda. Like I mentioned, they do have hurricane watches, but that really comes in how close the system is going to get to, just basically how close the system will get to the island there, essentially. So it just depends. Because the hurricane conditions are only going to be a small little bubble as compared to how big those tropical storm conditions would be. So we'll see. Let's see here. Laura says, just a quick question. I'm in Ireland. Once the system moves up, will Ireland get at the tail end of this? It's a little early to tell, to be honest with you. I mean, you can see this is out to out to Monday, essentially. Anything beyond this point is just a little bit iffy. You can see just how big the cone gets. The only area right now that we should watch beyond Bermuda might be the eastern side of Newfoundland. We could get maybe some coastal impacts or whatever, but yeah, it's just a little too far to be for sure out there for areas out that way. But like I said, we'll keep you guys informed. We'll keep you guys up to date with everything. And, whenever it comes to it, if it does get closer, we'll be sure to let you guys know. Absolutely. But anyways. But yeah, so we'll definitely, we'll keep you guys in the loop. But yeah, for right now, obviously we do have Eastern Cuba. You guys in Eastern Cuba, we have this hurricane warning. Obviously, because we're getting the storm right now. Eventually, the system is going to work its way into the Bahamas as a Category 2. Timing will be here pretty much for later this evening, which we'll be doing some coverage as well. You guys know we'll be covering this as well for the Bahamas too. Hopefully, we'll get a break in at some point. Maybe Thursday, I could have a break. Yeah, Thursday we'll probably have a break, but then early Friday we'll probably have to go live again to cover Bermuda. Like I said, still a little iffy on the exact conditions for Bermuda, but we'll see. But they do have those hurricane watches that are in effect right now, which we'll see if those ever get materialized in the warnings. I mean, at most maybe. I mean, it could even be tropical storm conditions. It just depends. Laura says, thanks. I appreciate you responding. Yeah, no problem. Of course, you guys. Like I said, I'm always here to answer y'all's questions. We got you. All right, here's Sat View. By the way, y'all, we're one subscriber away from 32,300. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much. It's greatly appreciated. You guys are amazing. But yeah, looking at Sat View, I mean, it's definitely still kicking. Essentially, that lightning activity has definitely completely pretty much gone away. The eye is gone too. I mean, it doesn't even have an eye anymore. It tried to have it for a little bit, but it just it doesn't have that no more. Here, let me bring up the clear infrared view, or the clean infrared. But yeah, you can see it's definitely No more visible eye at this point. We could see where it did try to come back for a little bit, but it's dissipated at this point. It's definitely not liking the land very much. It's definitely not a big fan of that lightning. Oh, we did it, y'all. We reached 32,300. Thank you guys so much. Much love to y'all. Thank you guys so much for your support. You guys are the best. Much love to y'all. All right, let's bring you guys back over here. So here's the hurricane models. Yeah, you can see they're in pretty good agreement here. They're pretty close to one another. But yeah, further down in time, of course, you're going to have some more more inaccuracies and more question marks, essentially. Derek says hurricane is barreling towards Cuba. Well, it's over Cuba right now. That's the thing. It's here. Let me show you guys this real quickly. We'll bring y'all over there. That scared me. That noise. let me mute that. Let's see. Where is it at? I lost it. Oh, here it is. Okay, we good. Yeah, it's literally over there right now. Let's hop back to goes east. That looks weird. Try that one. There you go. I don't know why it looked like that. But yeah, you can see that the eye is completely gone. But yeah, this is Cuba. It's completely over eastern Cuba right now. But anyways. So right now we are sustained at 115 miles an hour. That's what the latest assessment from the Hurricane Center said. Pressure down to 960 millibars. Storm is moving to the northeast at 12 miles per hour. So it did pick up a little bit of speed. I think last assessment, it was at was it 10 miles an hour? I think. Is there any live streams of what's happening in Cuba? Not really, because first of all, it's dark out there. You can't really see much. Two, also, it's pretty mountainous. So, Cindy says your dad has always said that Florida is eventually going to disappear with the hurricane slowly going under. What do I think? Nah, I don't think so. I mean, Florida is sinking from what I've heard, from like sea level rise or whatever, but it wouldn't be hurricanes. So most of the hurricanes do, and they do cause some coastal erosion, but not anytime soon, though. What's up? It couldn't beam. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Kim says, woohoo, way to go, Andrew. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, I couldn't do it without you guys. You all are everything to me. I appreciate it. Much, much love to y'all. All right, let's bring y'all back here. Let's go back to that rainfall. Honestly, rainfall is still like one of the biggest concerns, for Cuba, and just the system in general. The system has just been such a wet system. There has been so much moisture with the system that it's just been crazy. Even for the Bahamas there, we have a little bit more, lower confidence there from the Weather Prediction Center, but we are talking 8 to 12 inches there in the orange, which is that 200 to 300 millimeter range. Anyways, but yeah, like I said, if you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to ask it. Let's check out. I don't think we have any hurricane hunters, do we? We do. Actually, they took out a Lakeland here where I'm at. Yeah, I'm actually out here by Lakeland, in which literally not super far away from the airport that they take out of. So we have the P3 Orion NOAA hurricane hunters. So we have the Air Force hurricane hunters, which they fly the modified C-130, WC-130J, and then you have the P3 Orion, which is the NOAA Miss Piggy. And we have Miss Piggy going out. Miss Piggy's coming in the storm here. I mean, yeah, it's gotten closer. They don't have to fly as far as they once did. And it's a little bit shorter of a flight, but yeah, they're gonna go check it out. They can't do any drop sondes or anything like that. They can't drop probes in the storm because it would kind of pose a risk for people who's on the ground. You don't want to be out. Next thing you know, you have a drop sonde going through your window. Wouldn't be very good. So, Outdoors says after this passes, how will the waves be in the Atlantic? They're going to be a little choppy for a while. Any big system that you get like this will really move around some water. What I can do for you though, I can actually bring up the models and kind of give you an idea of what. I sounded Australian there for a second. I can give you an idea of what we can see. Here, let me bring up the. So lower dynamics, significant wave height. Here you go. Here's the GFS. Remember, this is one model, but you can see those waves will really, really get going there for a while, especially out there by like Bermuda. We're going to be seeing like 25 plus foot waves quite a bit. And it takes a little bit of time to really go down there too. You know what? That could really... Here, let's move up to the northeast U.S. real quick. Ooh. Hold on a minute. This looks like it's going to cause some really rough waters up by the U.S. northeast coast and even like Nova Scotia here. That is crazy. Yeah, even Newfoundland. That is, yeah, that's pretty wild. Huh. Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on that there. Good morning, Ashes. Good to see ya. Ugh. Kim says, gotta run. Catch you later, weather nerd. See you later, Kim. Thanks for joining. I'm going to get rid of my fat head for a minute. Ugh. But yeah, guys, if y'all have any questions, let me know. We'll be here for y'all. Now, honestly, I'm not sure how long we're going to stream. We'll be live for a while, though, I think. I mean, we've already been live. Let's see. How long have we been live for? 3.5 hours. Yeah, we've been live for quite a bit of coverage. All right, let's hop back here. Here we go. I really wish this would actually work. Let's see, high HD, live, satellite view. Here we go. I got to get used to this program. Oh, there we go. Wait, this is in the past. Wait a minute. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, no, this actually really pictures a good representation of why, a really good representation of why we're getting a lot of like storm surge and stuff, because you can see, I mean, the counterclockwise flow of these systems, just pushes all of that water, or a lot of water inland, That's why it's such a big problem, storm surge, because, these systems just literally move the water, which, causes it to build up quite a bit. Yeah, Laura, we'll have to see what happens with that. That's kind of in the extended range. Plus, that was one model, so we'll see what happens though. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop here with everything. Like I said, tomorrow, whenever I get up and stuff, I'm going to end up doing nighttime coverage as well, or evening coverage for the Bahamas. So we'll be covering a lot. Let's see. All right, let's hop back over here, y'all. We're gonna hop back to the. Actually, let's get rid of some of these tabs. I have so many tabs open, dude. It makes it so hard to like navigate around here. All right, let's get rid of that. Okay, so yeah, we'll keep an eye on the hurricane hunters since we have them going in it now, or going to be going in it soon. But yeah, let's actually hop back here to the Hurricane Center real quickly. I do want to bring them up so we can talk about some of these things going on here. So, anyways, hopping back over here to the NHC. So once again, this yellow area that you guys see here, this is where those estimated tropical storm force winds are at here, which you can see those are actually starting to go out towards some of the southern Bahamas. We have the Turks and the Caicos out here by, the southern Bahamas here, basically. We do have tropical storm warnings in effect there. Tropical storm warnings also for Haiti as well. You can see at this point the estimated tropical storm force winds here in the yellow have now left. That was a nice voice crack. Have now left Jamaica there. So they are... They're good. I mean, the conditions have definitely improved a lot. And of course, you got this little bubble here. This red bubble. This is where the estimated hurricane force winds are currently at right now. So, kind of out there by like San Luis, Palma, Soriano. I'm not good with these names. We have Mela. Urbano, Norris, and Tercer Frente. I really apologize in advance for just my poor skills of being able to actually like name any of these. It's pretty bad, but anyways, but yeah. So the yellow, that's where the tropical storm force winds, and the hurricane force winds is here in the red there. Hurricane warnings for Cat Island, see Zuma and Cays, Long Island, San Salvador. What is this island? Rum Cay. We have Crooked Island in there as well. Mayaguna. Is that how you say that? Wait, Mayaguana. Oh, Mayaguana? I think so. But then, like I said, we work our way further down in the forecast. So 2 p.m. Thursday, we're just before Bermuda. And by the time we approach 2 a.m. on Friday, it's just past Bermuda. So it's going to be pretty late. But, yeah, we got Bermuda. They're actually in those hurricane watches out there. So we'll keep an eye out there for that. Then it continues north. 2 a.m. on Saturday, we do have Newfoundland. Could be get some impacts out there. Definitely some big waves and such. So we'll look out for that. And then of course we work our way out here by 2 a.m. on Monday. And it's all the way up there, just west of the UK. So we shall see, y'all. We shall see. What's up, Laws? What? All right, let's take a look back at the satellite view, y'all. So, yeah, once again, eye is gone. It's nowhere to be found. We've lost it. Eye has been lost. Lightning activity, like we mentioned, is pretty quiet. That looks like it's picking up a little bit. Still got some pretty deep convection going on. I mean, there's so much moisture though. There is just so much moisture in this system that's just really allowing for lots of rain to fall. Stormy says longest hurricane track ever is 113 kilometers. Let's see here. This forecast has 83 kilometers. Huh? Wait, I'm pretty sure a kilometer is... Hold on, I need to do some math here. I need some freedom units real quickly. Hold on a minute, y'all. I stole that from that one dude who came in here. That's pretty funny. That doesn't seem right, though. That's only 70 miles. That's why it doesn't seem right. Yeah. I don't think that's right. The track on this one's pretty wide here. I'm pretty sure one of the biggest storms I've seen was in the Pacific. I forgot which storm that was, but I feel like it was like a couple years ago. I have such a terrible time at remembering these storms. That's the bad thing with me is like I'm terrible whenever it comes to like remembering storms, like past events and stuff. So let's see. But yeah, by the way, everybody, so right now the storm is still a Cat 3, Category 3 storm. We are sustaining 115 mile an hour winds. You can see at the top there. Moving northeast at 12 miles an hour. And the pressure is down to 960 millibars. Let's see here. Stormy says, sorry, it's 8.3K kilometers. Okay. Okay, now that makes sense. I was going to say, 80 kilometers? Wait, that's like, or 113 hours, she said. That's crazy. I was going to say, that ain't adding up. No, but 8.3K, that's a lot better. That's a lot, though. That is. But anyways, all right, let's hop back here. We're going to pull up that rainfall forecast here from the Hurricane Center. So once again, or WPC, I should say, not much has changed here on the forecast. But yeah, we do have this margin here in eastern Cuba. The center of the storm is kind of right in here right now. So out there kind of where it's at right now, we're going to be having a lot of rain. We're talking like 12 to 16 inches, 300 to 400 millimeters there. Then we have the orange here. I should probably use a different color. Let's use black. So then we have this area here, which that's going to be seeing 8 to 12, 2 to 300 millimeters. Then we have the yellow. That's actually 4 to 6. The darker yellow, that's 6 to 8. So, but yeah, like I said, a lot of rainfall. A lot of rain is going to be a huge concern. For flooding, because all that water is going to be falling in the mountains and it's going to be running down, into the valleys and stuff like that. It's going to be pretty floody, very active with rainfall. Not to mention, a lot of the coastal areas here too. We're going to be having a lot of surges too. Several feet and stuff. Hugo, we do not have any live cams, sadly, because it's night out here for one. Two, there's just none I could really find. Also, it's pretty mountainous out here. There's not a lot of, like cameras available, essentially. So the most we got right now is just hurricane hunters. We got satellite imagery. We got Hurricane Center's analysis and all kinds of fun stuff. But no cameras. Yeah, we probably wouldn't be able to see much anyways, though. Sadly. So here's the wind history, y'all. The yellow, once again, that's the tropical storm force wind. So this is since the beginning of the storm here. The yellow areas have been inside of the tropical storm force winds. The red areas, that's where the hurricane winds have been. And you can obviously see how it went west. And once that front started interacting with it, we had that cold front that came down, air mass pushing outwards here. Then you got that prefrontal northerlies there. That kind of steered the storm to where it's at now, and you can see where the red is. So that's where the hurricane winds have been. So it's already it went like right over western Jamaica. East Jamaica was just in like the tropical storm force winds We did have some really heavy gusts out there, though. But yeah, the hurricane force winds went to the western side, and you can see now up here in Cuba, they are out here on the eastern side, getting ready to cross back over. Like I said, at this point in time, I mean, we're pretty much halfway through Cuba. Let's see. Yeah, we're pretty much about halfway through Cuba at this point. Beam says, could I possibly look up the weather for Georgia in the next 3 days for me, please? Yes, I got you. Yeah, this actually is for the U.S. in general. We do have this really strong low that's kind of kicking up by the Midwest. Could drive some storms, but we're not expecting any severe weather or anything like that. So, yeah, I checked SPC a little bit ago. We don't have any of that. Let me check the temps, actually. Yeah, we're going to be getting a little bit of a cold front, though, coming through. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's going to get pretty chilly. Lower 40s for the morning of the 30th here. Oh, yeah, Halloween, it'll be pretty cold, actually, too. Goodness. But, here, we'll zoom in HRRR real quickly. Precip, we'll do radar. Yeah, so you can see there's going to be a little bit of storm potential. Grabbing soundings, it doesn't really look like much of an unstable environment or anything like that. Yeah, there's really like no instability from what it looks like. Thermodynamics, Cape. Yeah, there's like no fuel. We got good forcing, good little front coming through, but not much to it. Anyways, I got to get back to the hurricane. Hopefully that helps, though. Ashes says, blew my mind how much AI videos were put out yesterday pretending to be real footage. AI is getting bad. It's getting real bad. I think, okay, this is my opinion, y'all, on AI. I think that AI needs to, enforce filters regardless. These AI videos need to have a filter. Whatever company they're using to make those AI videos or whatever, they need to have a filter saying it's fake, because there's so many people that's falling for fake news. So many people that's falling for fake news and fake information and stuff. It's literally ridiculous. I don't know about you, but I'm really tired of all this AI crap. It's helpful, in some aspects, but it's getting to be too much. If I remember correctly, Kingston Medar recorded 80-mile-an-hour winds. So probably a gust, huh? Yeah, in the forecast, they were supposed to get up to 50 or 60-mile-an-hour sustained winds. I'm pretty sure it was. Yep, ashes, 100%. Can't find any live cams for Cuba. Yeah, there's none out here, unfortunately. Like I mentioned, it's night. You probably won't be able to see much of anything either. So we got sat. We got eyes from the sky, at least. Actually, we have the hurricane hunters too. Let's check up on them. They're getting close, I believe. Yeah, hurricane hunters, they're actually not far. They are in central Cuba right now. You can see them over here. They took off out of Lakeland, where I'm at. But actually, I forgot to tell you guys. I did see the exact plane that's flying right there earlier today. Here, I'll go ahead and show you guys. So like I said, I live in Lakeland area, so I can literally see the Hurricane Hunter plane. That's a new one. The Hurricane Hunter plane fly by. Here, I'll go ahead and show you guys. Ugh. Can you guys see that? Yep, there it is. So I actually saw that earlier. That's when they were coming back in from before it hit. What is it? Jamaica. Yeah. Oh my goodness! We got a super chat. It couldn't beam with a $10 support. Thank you so much, my friend. Say thank you, Andrew. You're the best. Thanks for answering everyone's questions. You are very welcome. Beam, thank you. That is so nice of you, my friend. Guys, can you all please give Beam a big thank you in the chat or leave a like on the super chat for me? That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Beam. That's really nice of you. That means a lot. Thank you so much, my friend. That is greatly appreciated. Yeah, and the donations definitely help. Help keep us up and rolling. So I really appreciate it. Like I said, never am I going to ever ask for money, but it's there in case if people do want to support us. Because it helps keep our programs running that we use, and helps pay for bills and stuff. So the time that I got to cover it, I can't be working. So it helps a lot. I just want to say thank you for the people who have supported us. Greatly appreciated. But the most important thing is that you guys are staying updated and staying weather aware. Let's see, where can we find these live cams? There is no live cameras available, unfortunately. Yeah, there is no live cams because like I said, it's nighttime. Also we have a lot of mountains out here. There's just not really no location, sadly. All right, let's bring you guys here, actually. But yeah, you guys can see on this app view once again where the eye was, and it's completely gone at this point. It's completely gone. But here, let's actually hop you guys back here. Well, yeah, we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on the hurricane hunters. They haven't really started yet. Yeah, they haven't really done much. Yeah, earlier before we had the system make landfall, we did have the hurricane hunters go investigate the system. So this will be actually the first mission since before the Cuba landfall. Alex says, "Hey, would it be safe to travel to the K?" Okay, this is Saturday. What's a Saturday? Was that the 1st, right? The storm will be out of the region by then, but the waters will probably be still. Well, hold on. The waters will still probably be pretty choppy by then. Yeah. So as long as you're not in the water, you should be fine. But yeah, the storm will be long gone by then. You'll be good. Monster says, "Morning, Andrew." Good morning. Hope you're doing well. See, also, wow, the hurricane's moving now 6 times faster than it was yesterday. Yeah, it was moving real slow. Like I said, the lowest I saw it get to was it 2 miles an hour? It was barely moving. It was barely moving. Let's see here. Alex says, "Thanks, you're very welcome." Beam says, "You're welcome, my friend. I wish people would realize you're really the one who answers everyone. The other CC don't. Thanks again." No problem. I got you guys. No, I mean, it's good that other people are live too, because I mean, it makes sure that people are weather aware and safe. So I really appreciate other streamers too. I know a couple of streamers who are only in it for content or for profit and stuff. I'm not giving names. I'm not starting drama. This is not the place for that. But yeah, I mean, I'm here for you guys. I got y'all. Ash just says, "We love you, Andrew." Right back at you guys. You can sleepwalk faster than that. You really could. Yeah. Not now, but yeah, back before it hit Jamaica, it was only moving 2 miles an hour. There might have been one update. I feel like it might have slowed down to 1 mile an hour at one point. But all I remember is like 2. Anyways. But yeah, it was slow. Yeah, you could definitely walk faster than it Not anymore though, because now it's moving northeast at 12 miles an hour. Here, let me hop y'all guys back over to the. Oops. Wait, that's not where I want to go. What'd I do with it? Where'd I put my? Wait, I lost my. Oh my gosh! Hold on a minute. We lost the Hurricane Center's page. Maybe I exited it by accident. Oops. Stormy says tracking on satellite. It got to 0.5 miles. What? Really? Oh, is that when it stalled and started its northerly movement? Yeah, there for a minute it did slow down like to 0. Beam says, I understand. I appreciate that. I really appreciate your support, Beam. You are the best, my friend. Alex says, would I cancel the trip if possible? Thanks for answering. Yeah, of course. You said Saturday, right? So that's a couple days after. So let me show you where the storm's going to be on Saturday. Maybe that'll kind of help put in, where it's going to be. So by the time we reach Saturday, so you're talking about going down here, right? So the storm's going to be over here on Saturday. It's going to be well far away. I mean, I can look at the waves. Here, I'll do this for you. I'll go ahead and pull up the models for you and show you what the wave height could be. Are you flying or are you cruising? That would make a big difference. If you're flying, yeah, it'd be perfectly fine. If you're cruising, I mean, boats know to go out of. Oh, Ko Coco. Where is that at then? Hold on, I need to figure out where this is at then. Ko Coco. This is Cuba. Oh, I was thinking you're talking the Turks and Ko. Okay. Well, honestly, yeah, you're gonna be fine. You're flying too. Perfectly okay. Yeah, you're good. First of all, I thought you were down here in the Southern Bahamas. But second of all, I was thinking you were taking a boat or something. Yeah, you'll be fine. I wouldn't cancel it. You should be good. Yeah, the system will be well out of the way by then. Let's see here. Not a Fed says, thanks for all you do, man. Oh, no problem. You're very welcome. You guys are very welcome. Here for y'all. Do we know what cat this is at the moment? Has it made landfall in Cuba? So, yes, it has made landfall in Cuba. It is halfway through Cuba right now, and it is a Category 3 at the moment. So, it is sustained winds at 115 miles an hour right now. Central low pressure is now at, what is it? Was it 960, I think it is? Here, let me double check. I don't want to give any false info. Yep, 960 millibars, 115 max sustained, and moving northeast at 12 miles an hour. Alex said, huge thanks. No problem. You're very welcome. Like I said, I got you guys. Let's see, it made made landfall around 3:10 a.m. Was that when it did? Yeah, here, I'll show you guys sat view up a little bit closer. For some reason, this map doesn't show the lower coast. But the center's right in here. Like right there. Currently. The coast goes like this. So yeah, it's about halfway through Cuba at this point. Cuba's already experienced the worst of it at this point. Before it made landfall there, it really hit them hard. But yeah, I'm sure they're still getting some real nasty conditions for sure. But yeah, Cuba's not liking it either. But also the storm itself isn't really liking it either. It's struggling big time. It almost developed a second eye. It did. It tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter. But yeah, no, it did try. It just didn't have enough time. I mean, it was in warm enough waters. It's just it was too, too little time, essentially. Let's see, is this guy even a real meteorologist? Went to school for this? I've studied meteorology for over 10 years, but I couldn't afford going to college for it because it's too much. But I've taken a lot of classes, and literally this was my hobby for 10 plus years. So, I mean, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not some random dude that just came on here and be like, oh, I know what I'm talking about. No, I've been doing this for a while. Trust me. It's too expensive, man. You know, also not even guaranteed any positions anywhere too. It's like, ugh. Let's see. Either Cat 4 or 3 when it hit. It was whenever it hit Cuba, it was category 3. Yeah. Stormy says, you think you could go Cat 4 again? Nah, ain't gonna go to Cat 4 again. Alright, we'll give you guys a better view here. Anyways, y'all. To be honest, I'm probably gonna call it some coverage here in a minute. I need to get some sleep, y'all. We've been covering a lot of it. 4 hours here. Yeah. All right, everybody. Yeah, guys, I'm probably gonna roll off here for now. We'll be back here tomorrow, though, or later today, I should say, for some more coverage. Just gonna go get some rest and relax a bit, because yeah, I've been. As soon as I got up, I did some streaming, went to bed. As soon as I got up, I came back here and did some more streaming with you guys. But yeah, we'll be back here later on today. We'll do some more coverage. So, okay, everybody. Thank you all for joining. You guys take care. Have a wonderful, fantastic rest of your night. Y'all be careful. Be safe out there. We'll keep you guys up to date with the next update and stuff like that. So we'll be here to help you guys out. Alrighty. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. You guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your night. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, consider subscribing, leaving a like, and maybe sharing. It'd be greatly appreciated. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. See y'all in the next one. Peace out, my friends. Catch you then.